the supreme dragon of the era of Tamers. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126 Powerful Flying Dragon. Three-headed flame dragon, crush it. Lu Hongxin sent a message. So what if it's a pure-blooded dragon? The difference in strength between the two ranks is enough for him to gain the upper hand. Today, he will let Gu Zulin see who is the strongest dragon master of the new generation in Hanyang province. The three-headed flame dragon flicked its tail slightly, and a pair of green giant wings behind it quickly waved, rising rapidly at the speed of lightning. Roar! With a roar, a huge dragon flame breath instantly swept through the air, aiming directly at Kai Ling. Surrounded by frost, endless cold air permeated from the body, and 8 Dasher ring-shaped frost barriers suddenly appeared on Kai Ling's body. Boom boom boom. In the interweaving and collision of flames and frost, the several ring-shaped frost constructed by Kai Ling gradually disappeared, and a large amount of steam and mist began to float and dissipate. In a blink of an eye, Kai Ling was surrounded by mist, with only a blue ring of frost looming in the mist. With her huge and elegant body, it created a powerful and mysterious atmosphere. Looking at the white smoke covering the sky in front of him, Chen Wei's mouth curled up slightly. Ice the desolate land, Kai Ling's body moved slightly, and an extremely terrifying cold air emerged instantly. The originally bright and beautiful battlefield ground turned into an ice field in an instant. The mist and water vapor on the platform condensed into dense blue ice crystals together with the dust in the air, and the temperature around them dropped suddenly. The biting cold wind blew on the three-headed flame dragon, and a trace of discomfort flashed in its eyes. The beautiful ice crystals covering the sky actually brought a hint of threat to it. You must not touch the ice crystals. Lu Hongxin's face showed a solemn expression. Use burning roar to clear the field. The three-headed flame dragon raised its head and continued to pull away. The strong fire source power burst out again, and the three open mouths began to gather burning red light. When its heads met, 3 light red fire pillars swept across the field, and the dense ice crystals on the battlefield exploded and splashed, and then spewed fiercely towards Kai Ling in the distance. Telekinesis, Kai Ling's light golden pupils instantly turned into a bright blue, and the invisible and majestic telekinesis swept towards the blue flying dragon in the sky. Before the fire pillars came, the 3 slender necks of the three-headed flame dragon were severely pressed by the invisible telekinesis, and the flame spewed from its mouth immediately hit the open space, raising a large cloud of dust. Chen Wei, teleport plus frost defense ice explosion. Kai Ling's bright blue eyes flashed a silver-white light, and all the remaining ice crystals on the field immediately disappeared. The next second, thousands of blue ice crystals suddenly appeared around the three-headed flame dragon, and then emitted brilliant light. Dense blue light bloomed in an instant. The three-headed flame dragon's pupils suddenly shrank, and endless blue light filled its vision. Flame Dragon Guard, Lu Hongxin subconsciously ordered. The tiny ice crystals in the sky seemed to explode and bloom continuously in the air like grand fireworks, and the violent roar continued. This huge continuous explosion lasted for about 10 seconds, and an astonishing cold air spread out in all directions, and then slowly dissipated. Roar! An angry dragon roar sounded. Chen Wei looked from a distance and saw that many dragon scales fell off the blue scales of the three-headed flame dragon, and a shallow scratch appeared on the slender neck, with some crystal-clear water droplets hanging on it. It's really a strong enemy. Lu Hongxin's expression became more and more serious. Although these injuries were only minor injuries to the three-headed flame dragon, the feeling of being suppressed and beaten was very uncomfortable. Seeing that Lu Hongxin was at a disadvantage at the beginning of the battle, the beast masters who were watching were silent for a moment, and then gradually became noisy. What a powerful dragon! There is obviously a huge gap in strength between the two sides, but I didn't expect that this conquering frost dragon could still have the upper hand. This is the suppression of pure-blooded dragons over half-blooded dragons. If this continues, Lu Hongxin will lose. Don't talk nonsense. Do you know the value of sleeping dragon? Tisk. The battle has just begun, and now it is at most a test of each other, and it is still a long way to go before the winner is decided. That's right, dragon-type pets are full of vitality and extremely powerful, and there is indeed a fight to be had. Isn't the dragon a king race? Why can a new beast master contract it? This dragon is very special. I have identified it with the source energy glasses. Its normal source energy value has not reached the lower limit of the king race. It should only be a transcendent commander. Listening to the conversations of the beast masters around her, Yu Zilman showed a proud smile on her face. Apart from her, who could have thought that this slightly immature boy had such great potential? A beast-taming genius who could cultivate the source star to the 3rd level at the age of 18, he could basically choose from the 5 famous schools in Donghua. Her gamble was very accurate, and it can even be said that she won. Seeing that the 3-headed flame dragon was in good condition, Chen Wei chose to take the initiative. Frostfall Ice Spike, Kailing's mind moved, and the majestic ice source energy burst out from the ice ground. A series of sharp ice spikes flashing with silver light rose from the ground and attacked the flying dragon in the air. Flame impact to meet it, Lu Hongxin commanded. It is extremely difficult to avoid attacks in front of space-type pets. The elusive instant movement is enough to make the dragon in front of him hit the target every time. Instead of dodging in vain, he simply chose to attack head-on. Boom! The surging fire source power surged from the 3-headed flame dragon, forming a light red flame armor that enveloped it. Seeing the ice spikes coming closer and closer, the 3-headed flame dragon roared, and the flame armor attached to its body gave off a violent aura. The wings behind it swung violently, and its body turned into a majestic and ferocious flame dragon and rushed towards Kailing. Bang! 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 Countless silver-white ice spikes collided violently with the flame armor, and hazy steam rose up with silver light, and the fierce momentum of the 3-headed flame dragon suddenly stagnated. Frostfall cold breath, fiery flame strike. Seeing that the scene fell into a brief stalemate, Chen Wei and Lu Hongxin continued to give orders. The biting cold air burst out of Kailing's mouth. And then she raised her head and spit out, and a thick silver-blue cold breath instantly swept towards the flame dragon in the sky. The latter's eyes condensed, and 3 huge mouths gushed out hot flames at the same time. The flame armor that had been accumulated on the surface of the body for a long time seemed to be charged, and the fire became more and more vigorous. The body of the 3-headed flame dragon began to expand rapidly, turning into a rapidly falling flame meteor. The biting cold breath was blocked by the blazing flames, and the meteorite fell from high above and swept towards Kailing at the speed of lightning. Boom! A fiery red shock wave exploded on the ground, and the frantic roar was accompanied by billowing hot air and smoke. The Beastmasters watching the battle around couldn't help but feel their hearts skip a beat. Chapter 127, Fighting the Flame Dragon. Has the winner been decided? The Beastmasters watching widened their eyes, trying to see the dragon in the shock wave. After the huge meteorite fell to the ground, the ferocious fire dragon mercilessly erupted with terrifying fire fluctuations. Its angry dragon roared like thunder, and the scorching heat was vented with smoke and dust. Countless cracks began to appear on the surface of the platform, and a large amount of gravel and smoke were everywhere. This violent source power fluctuation even triggered safety protection measures for the platform. A hemispherical gray light quietly appeared, blocking the flying gravel, as well as the shocking energy shock wave. No way, the new Beastmasters are fighting, and they even hit the 4th level protective shield on the battlefield. Looking at the serious damage caused to the platform, many Beastmasters swallow their throats subconsciously. Among the Beastmasters present, only a few could hit the 4th level protective shield, and most of them could not even damage the surface of the platform. The explosion in front of them immediately made many arrogant Beastmasters understand how big the gap between them was. The thick clouds and smoke slowly dissipated. Looking at the huge pit on the battlefield, Lu Hongxin couldn't help but frown. Did he hit it? No wonder the flame dragon's mood from the contract was so irritable. The space-type pet is really difficult to deal with, especially a dragon-type pet with strong physical strength. It's a monster. Fortunately, the venue on the platform is small. If you encounter it in the secret realm, you can't defeat such a slippery pet. Frostfall Ice Tornado, Chen Wei commanded. When the 3-headed flame dragon hit the ground, Kailing, who had moved into the air in an instant, had already been ready. A terrifying frost storm carrying the embers of frost suddenly broke out. The icy and biting cold air instantly enveloped the entire venue. Even with a 4th level protective shield as a guard, the Beastmasters watching the battle couldn't help but shiver. It was clearly hot before, but now it has turned into ice and snow. If it weren't for the extraordinary physical fitness of the Beastmasters present, ordinary people would probably catch a cold or a fever if they came here and faced the sudden changes in temperature. Looking at the proud dragon flying in the sky and the frost storm expanding under the dragon, the three-headed flame dragon quickly flapped its blue wings, trying to avoid this extremely sharp ice tornado. Woo woo woo, the wind was roaring, and the cold was howling. The terrifying ice storm suddenly turned into an imposing ice dragon, with frost falling all over its body, swallowing the three-headed flame dragon at an astonishing speed. I can't avoid it. Lu Hongxin's pupils shrank, and the source power of his whole body began to explode. Since he couldn't dodge, he would have a head-on collision. He didn't believe that the three-headed flame dragon of the third-level middle position would lose to the dragon of the second-level upper position in a battle of source power. Thinking of this, he directly activated his innate talent, Heroic Yuan Long. The host automatically gains a slight affinity with alien beasts. The more unrestrained and uninhibited the character is, the higher the affinity is, and the faster the cultivation speed is. When actively guiding, the power of one's own pet can be strengthened. The majestic source power is linked through the feedback of the beast control contract, and the breath of the three-headed flame dragon soars suddenly. More vigorous flames rise from its body surface, and the color of the flames also changes from light red to dark pink. Scorching roar, the three-headed flame dragon stared at the attacking ice dragon, and the boiling dark pink flames burst out from its mouth, and finally gathered into a light pink flame light column. Wherever the light column passed, the moisture in the surrounding air was burned out, and even the beastmasters watching from a distance felt a numbing heat wave coming towards them. A tall beastmaster wrinkled his nose slightly, and subconsciously reached out to touch his bald head. Is it an illusion? Why do I smell a coke? Under the expectant eyes of everyone, the extremely cold ice dragon and the flame light column collided with each other. Unlike before, the steam that rose up after the violent collision was evaporated by the scorching flames before it could spread. Zzz. Under the flame light column, a large amount of red light appeared on the ice dragon's body, and a dense crack began to extend from the ice dragon's head until it completely collapsed. The blazing light column that shattered the ice dragon rushed towards Kailing fiercely. Chen Wei, teleport. Kailing's figure in the air was fleeting, and the next second, she appeared behind the three-headed flame dragon, with a giant tail wrapped in endless frost as fast as lightning, aiming directly at the flame dragon. Fireflow Flame Fang, Lu Hongxin quickly issued an order. After knowing that the dragon in front of him was a space type, he was ready for the opponent to use the skill of stiffness to get close to him. The canine teeth in the mouth of the three-headed flame dragon spewed out strong flames, and the three heads formed four huge flaming fangs with scorching momentum. One head bit the attacking giant tail, and the other two heads attacked the sides of the dragon's body. Seeing this, Kailing's eyes flashed with a fierce light, and the giant tail emitting extremely cold slammed into the neck of the three-headed flame dragon. Crack! The flaming fangs in the mouth of the three-headed flame dragon suddenly dissipated, and a large number of cracks appeared on the extremely solid neck scales, and many scales fell off. Even after being hit hard, the other two heads of the three-headed flame dragon still raised the whistling wind and bit Kailing at lightning speed. Move away, Chen Wei conveyed his thoughts. At the critical moment, Kailing's eyes condensed, and her figure disappeared in an instant. The two giant mouths of the three-headed flame dragon bit into nothing. Roar! Seeing that he could not attack Kailing, the three-headed flame dragon roared angrily, and the blood in his already red eyes surged, becoming more and more fierce and brutal. No matter how hard he tried, he could not touch the enemy, and could only keep getting beaten. This was the first time he encountered such a frustrating battle. At this time, the fear hidden in its heart had long dissipated, and it wanted to tear the dragon in the distance to pieces. Calm down, don't rush, the advantage is on our side, Lu Hongxin calmly soothed. In the face of the lazy teleportation, unless a large-scale skill attack is carried out, other attacks are in vain. He looked at the elegant dragon that suddenly appeared in the air, and his face showed a bit of calmness. As a fifth-level space skill, teleportation definitely consumes a lot of source power. The skills currently used by the three-headed flame dragon are all low-level skills of the third to fourth levels. Although its physical strength has been reduced, it still maintains a strong source power. After such a tangle, although the Kwangming Frost Dragon in front of it did not receive any damage, as a price, it definitely consumed much more source power than the three-headed flame dragon. The three-headed flame dragon originally had an advantage in strength and attributes. As long as the Kwangming Frost Dragon was dragged into a war of attrition, the space-based ice dragon that had been depleted of its source power would have nothing to fear. Chapter 128 Easy Victory. This guy is so ferocious. Looking at the three-headed flame dragon in the distance, Chen Wei's expression became more and more solemn. The neck, as a vital part, received the full force of K Ling, but only the scales fell off and there was slight bleeding. What an amazing defense. Frostfall cold breath, no matter what, the blue flying dragon in front of him, which was 4 meters long and had a wingspan of 5 meters, was a pure live target for K Ling, who could make it big or small. If one attack didn't work, try 10 times. As long as the three-headed flame dragon could be stained with the embers of frostfall, even the ferocious flying dragon would be defeated in the biting frost. Dragon flame breath, Lu Hongxin ordered. A dragon flame turned into a flaming flying dragon that instantly annihilated the incoming cold breath. Instead of being fooled around by the dragon in the distance, it is better to find the flaws that the opponent accidentally exposed in a long tug of war. Want to delay time and then compete in physical strength and source power? As the battle progressed, Chen Wei gradually figured out Lu Hongxin's intention. Chen Wei was not surprised at his choice. The reason why rare space pets are pursued and valued by beastmasters is that their space abilities are invincible. As long as the mental power and source power are sufficient, space pets can fight and retreat, run and control, and have a fast speed and a short CD. Fortunately, this is reality and not a game. Otherwise the space pets on Blue Star would have been chopped down by the creator. You dare to be distracted when fighting me, Lu Hongxin frowned. He admitted that Chen Wei was very strong, but this behavior was too disrespectful to him. Flowing fire hell, roar, the three-headed flame dragon raised its head and roared, and the majestic fire source power surged rapidly above its head, and fierce muffled sounds continued in the air. The terrifying fire column spewed out of its mouth soared into the sky, and the fire cloud formed by the flames covered the entire platform. Countless hot streams of fire fell continuously towards the ground, like a dense rain of fire, and the attack range covered the entire battle platform, even including itself. Crazy. Looking at the terrifying hell of flowing fire in front of him, Chen Wei was slightly shocked. This kind of fire skill with full coverage, in order to leave no gap for K Ling, even his own pet has to bear the attack. This is too cruel. Use ice armor plus frost surround defense. K Ling did not hesitate at all, and the thick blue ice armor instantly covered all parts of his body. The only remaining frost surround was also replenished with source power, and the guarding frost barrier was increased to 8 again. When K Ling blocked Chen Wei in front of him and made these defensive preparations, the terrifying baptism of the flowing fire rain had already fallen. Boom boom boom. The violent roar continued to sound, and the frost barrier on K Ling's body gradually disintegrated and shattered, and the blazing flowing fire fiercely bombarded the thick ice armor. Crunch! The fine ice crystals kept sliding down from K Ling's body, and then instantly evaporated by the scorching high temperature. Roar! The three-headed flame dragon covered in flames saw that the sky-wide stream of fire had successfully hit the target, and a trace of excitement flashed in its eyes. Without hesitation, it activated the flowing fire hell again, trying to drown the dragon in the distance. Teleport to interrupt it. At this time, Chen Wei, who was sweating profusely, quickly issued an order. Such a terrifying fire skill could not allow the three-headed flame dragon to continue to maintain. A silver-white ripple swept past, and K Ling's elegant figure suddenly appeared above the three-headed flame dragon. The 3 dark blue claws under her feet were slightly bent, and 3 sharp dragon claws wrapped with frost embers slashed across the neck of the three-headed flame dragon. A sharp sound suddenly rang out, and wherever the dragon claws passed, a burst of sparks and lightning, and dragon scales splashed. Roar! The three-headed flame dragon let out a shrill roar. 3 shocking huge wounds were torn from the place where its dragon scales had fallen off before, and the sharp special frost quickly invaded its body. Even the hot blood spilled on its body turned into freezing ice crystals in an instant. At the same time, an extreme chill erupted from the wound of the three-headed flame dragon, and even a thin layer of frost covered its body. The eyes of the severely injured three-headed flame dragon surged with blood. It subconsciously opened its huge mouth and released the fire flow flame fang skill. Its sharp teeth covered with flames bit fiercely at the conquering frost dragon that caused it pain. Looking at the ferocious giant fangs that attacked, K Ling moved her mind and her figure suddenly appeared in the distance, leaving the three-headed flame dragon with nothing to bite. The battle is over. The winner is Chen Wei. The referee Wu Wei suddenly called a halt. This is a pet battle, not a life and death duel. It's enough to fight to this extent. In the final analysis, This is just a friendly exchange between new beastmasters. The three-headed flame dragon was stained with too many frost embers, and it would only suffer more damage if it continued to fight. Judging from the current situation, Lu Hongxin's chance of winning is already very small, so it's better to stop here. The moment Wu Wei's voice sounded, the surroundings suddenly became silent. As a famous epic beastmaster in China and the president of Yangling City, Wu Wei's authority in the hearts of these young beastmasters can be imagined. The beastmasters watching here did not expect that the famous Walin in Hanyang province would be defeated by a new beastmaster. If they had not witnessed it with their own eyes, they would have thought that others were making a joke that was not humorous at all. Outrageous. It's really outrageous. Chen Wei not only won, but also won so cleanly. Obviously Chen Wei is the weaker party, but he has always occupied an overwhelming advantage on the field, without even a little decline. If it weren't for the serious damage in front of them, the pits and potholes everywhere reminded them how tragic the battle was, everyone would even think it was a fake match. It seems that after today, Lu Hongxin's title of Walin will become a joke. The three-headed flame dragon in the middle of the third level was actually defeated by a Kongming Frost Jiao that is 2 levels lower in strength. This is really too exaggerated. The so-called title of Crouching Dragon is not worthy of its name at all. Since you think Crouching Dragon is just a false name, why don't you challenge him? Yang Wei frowned and said, you can't even last a second. The girl who was asked began to stammer. Even between geniuses, there are obvious differences. There is nothing to question about this, Gu Zilin murmured. She knew Lu Hongxin's strength very well. Even ordinary 4th level lower level elite beasts were not Lu Hongxin's opponents. Before entering the secret realm, Lu Hongxin defeated the 4th level lower level top elite with a 3rd level middle level 3-headed flame dragon. He was a veritable top-level beast-controlling genius. It's just that the elite-level beasts they encountered in the competition were extraordinary, which made them hide a wall frequently. Rather than saying that Lu Hongxin's title of Crouching Dragon was overrated, it would be better to say that Chen Wei's Kongming Frost Dragon was too outrageous. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, A New Senior. After hearing the referee's verdict, Chen Wei immediately signaled Kei Ling to stop attacking. Seeing this, Kei Ling immediately wrapped her figure around her own beastmaster's arm and boasted confidently. Easily defeated, yeah, we are so strong. Chen Wei touched Kei Ling's cheek with relief, and then planned to leave the opposite platform. Gold always shines. When he decided to participate in this beast control competition, he was ready to expose Kei Ling to the world. Kei Ling, whose race level has not reached a brilliant king, is expected to attract the surprised eyes of many beastmasters. But this is unavoidable. Chen Wei did not believe that such an excellent beast control genius like him in Hanyang province would not be valued and protected by the association. At this time, the battle was over, and the furious 3-headed flame dragon on the field seemed unwilling to give up, and his blood-red eyes were still staring at Kei Ling. Enough, Lu Hongxin stopped him with his mind. The star ring between his fingers flashed orange light, and he forcibly put the 3-headed flame dragon in the air into the star ring. Since even his respected President Wu Wei's has determined that the winner has been decided, continuing to stubbornly insist on fighting will only make the situation more embarrassing. He stood there and exhaled heavily, relieving the depression in his heart caused by his first defeat. Then he walked in front of Chen Wei and politely stretched out his right hand. You are very strong, the strongest opponent I have ever encountered. This battle also made me understand my own shortcomings. Thank you for your advice. For him, failure is not terrible, what is terrible is that he cannot learn lessons from failure. This inexplicably appearing strong enemy in front of him may allow him to shine more dazzlingly in the tempering of failure. Chen Wei was slightly stunned. Lu Hongxin's operation directly made him unable to do it. However, his mental strength is exceptionally outstanding. He can faintly feel whether the words of the handsome boy in front of him are sincere, and he can't help but feel a little good in his heart. It's easy to say that you are not arrogant when you win and not discouraged when you lose, but how many new beastmasters can do this? It was just luck that I won by chance. If we really fight, the outcome is unpredictable, Chen Wei said truthfully. Although he had the upper hands in the previous battle, and the extremely sharp frost embers even completely penetrated the body of the three-headed flame dragon, causing serious damage, it was really hard to predict the outcome until the last moment. Kailing felt an extremely strong threat from the three-headed flame dragon. He didn't think that Lu Hongxin's strength was only this level. No matter what, losing is losing, and luck is also a kind of strength. Lu Hongxin shook his head slightly, obviously disagreeing with Chen Wei's words. By the way, can you add a contact number? As Dragon Masters, we can exchange experiences in raising dragon pets when we have nothing to do. Of course, Chen Wei did not refuse, and took out the hot mobile phone from his trouser pocket, and then exchanged QQ messages with each other. The three-headed flame dragon is seriously injured. I will go to treat it first, and we will have another fight next time if there is a chance, Lu Hongxin said with a smile. Okay. Looking at Lu Hongxin's back as he left, Chen Wei scratched his head in confusion. With his physical fitness, he couldn't help sweating in the face of the intense heat, and even the mobile phone on his body almost melted. How come Lu Hongxin's face was still clean and tidy after the battle, without even a drop of sweat? You played very well, Wu Wei's, who came over, said with a smile. With the strength and potential that Chen Wei and Lu Hongxin just showed, perhaps they can break through to the king-level Beastmaster before the age of 30, and even have the opportunity to break through to the epic-level Beastmaster in the future. This compliment woke Chen Wei from his thoughts, and he looked at the kind boss in front of him and said politely, "You are too kind, President Wu." Wu Wei's didn't seem to have the airs of a boss at all. He smiled and said, "Don't be modest in front of me. I know Director Han's red cloud flame formation diagram, little brother." Hearing this, Chen Wei's eyes suddenly lit up. Little brother? Red cloud flame formation diagram. Could it be that President Wu's alma mater is Rosewood University? Yes, I am a graduate of Rosewood University in 1996. Seeing a hint of surprise on Chen Wei's face, he smiled and handed over a black business card. "This is my personal contact information. If you encounter any problems, you can communicate with me." "Okay, thank you, senior," Chen Wei responded politely, and then took the business card with both hands. The connections of the 5 major universities in Donghu are indeed strong. Even the president of Yangling City, Wu Wei's, is a member of Rosewood University. You must know that Yangling City is the only first-level city in Hanyang Province, and it occupies extremely rich beast resources. As the president of Yangling City Beast Taming Association, Wu Wei's power can be imagined. It seems that his chief master, Director Han, is not simple, and he can actually attract the attention of President Wu. The award for the first place in the competition will be publicly awarded when it is announced tomorrow. If you have any special needs, you can communicate with me in advance, Wu Wei said. Okay, I understand, Chen Wei nodded. President Wu's meaning is very clear. The reward for ranking first is not fixed, and it can even be slightly adjusted according to his wishes. President Meng had said before that the top 3 contestants in the competition would automatically be eligible to enter the Ling Yunayang Heritage Ruins. Now it seems that the rewards are far more than that. This is normal. How can the first-ranked contestant get the same reward as the second and third contestants? The Beastmasters who had not left yet saw that President Wu and Chen Wei were having a good chat, and their faces were full of envy. Is this the treatment of a Beastmaster genius? Even an epic Beastmaster would look at him differently. Envy. Chen Wei was unaware of the envy around him. After saying goodbye to President Wu politely, he slowly walked down the opposite platform. When did Kailing become so fierce? Yu Zilman's delicate face was full of curiosity and surprise. 4 months ago, Kailing was at level 10 of the juvenile life, and her Zioland's strength was only 1 level lower than Kailing. The 2 sides could still fight back and forth for dozens of rounds. But now, with Zioland's strength, it is estimated that she can't even withstand 1 move of Kailing. You have to know that during this period, her Zioland did not relax at all. Although her strength was still at the 10th level of the juvenile, the monsters she could defeat were upgraded from the lower level of the first level to the middle level of the first level. However, after 4 months, Kailing's strength jumped to the upper level of the second level, and she could even defeat the commander-level monster of the third level. This speed of strength improvement was extremely outrageous, and even refreshed her cognition. What kind of rare and wonderful encounter did Chen Wei encounter in these short 4 months to create a monster pet like Kongming Shuangjiao? Are the beast control resources in the secret realm of Nanbin Mountain really that terrifying? It's just luck. Chen Wei smiled slightly. In any case, he would never reveal his second talent to others. Chapter 130 Competition Rewards. As the second innate talent that is unique in the history of Blue Star, the power of controlling dragons is the ultimate secret in Chen Wei's heart. How could he reveal it to others? This kind of secret news cannot be discussed even between friends. Yu Zilmin, if you don't want to answer this kind of private question, you don't have to answer it. She can understand. But Chen Wei attributed all his success to luck. Wouldn't he underestimate her intelligence too much? Amazing battle. President Meng on the side coughed lightly. Your Kongming Frost Jiao is really well cultivated. He has seen dragons above the king level several times, but this is the first time he has seen a beast master like Chen Wei who can exert the strength of a second level dragon to the extreme. If it weren't for careful testing, just relying on the combat power of K Ling in the battle, he almost thought that K Ling was a king level pet. Of course, this may also be because it was the first time he saw a second level commander level dragon. You are flattering, Chen Wei said modestly. Even the third level alien beast can't be killed in seconds, which means that K Ling still has a lot of room for improvement. Be prepared to welcome enthusiastic fans. After today, the news that you defeated Wallen will spread throughout Hanyang province, and even outside Hanyang province. Meng Haoji's tone was a little envious. The fans are exaggerating. It's just a battle. Chen Wei shook his head. On the Blue Star, which pursues extraordinary power, the Beastmasters have already spent most of their energy just to improve the strength of their pets. How can they have time to pursue him, a new Beastmaster? Meng Haoji glanced at Chen Wei. It seems that you really don't know the value of Walling among all the Beastmaster high schools in Hanyang province. If you don't believe me, take a look at my mobile phone screen. Chen Wei casually glanced at the mobile phone screen handed over by Meng Haoji, and his face suddenly became very strange. My goodness, why are there so many news about him in the Beastmaster group chat of Shushan No. 1 Middle School, and he is obviously a student of Shushan No. 2 Middle School. I'm not kidding you. It's only been a few minutes and you've become famous in Shushan City. The same is probably true for the beast taming groups in other cities. Chen Wei. He immediately glanced around and found that some of the beast tamers who stayed nearby had a trace of admiration and worship on their faces. He couldn't help but be slightly startled. Although their levels vary, the new beast tamers who can stand here are all beast taming geniuses in every city in Hanyang province. The so-called geniuses are mostly arrogant and conceited. What's wrong with these beast tamers with starry eyes in front of you? Without even a trace of doubt, you were defeated by the simple pet battle just now? This is too exaggerated. Where is your arrogance as a genius? Hello, classmate. My name is Su Meng. Can I add my contact information? I want to ask you some questions about pet breeding. A well-dressed girl came forward and asked. Chen Wei looked carefully at the young beast tamer who took the initiative to talk. Her clear and bright eyes look a bit like the silly and sweet girl in the TV series, and her delicate nose and regular facial features give people a silly and cute feeling. The most eye-catching thing is the high-level source device she is fully armed with. If it weren't for the fact that the beast competition does not allow the carrying of offensive source devices, Chen Wei even felt that he might not be able to defeat the tortoise-shell girl who is armed to the extreme. In short, the Beastmaster in front of him is rich and is not an easy target to mess with. Seeing Chen Wei's hesitation, Su Beimeng hurriedly said softly, "Is it okay? Classmate, okay, no problem." Chen Wei nodded slightly. It was just a simple contact method, and he would not reject this genius girl with an unknown background. More friends, more ways. Some rare and precious beast resources cannot be purchased in the Beast Mall, and will only circulate among friends. Let's communicate more in the future. After exchanging contact information, Su Beimeng chose to leave neatly. You have a beautiful fangirl so soon. It seems that you are really charming, Yu Zilman teased. Chen Wei took a deep look at Yu Zilman in front of him. You are so sour, are you jealous? Yu Zilman subconsciously denied. What are you talking about, jealous? You are too narcissistic. It's good that you are not, then I feel relieved. Chen Wei deliberately exhaled heavily. Seeing this, Yu Zilman frowned slightly, and the more she thought about it, the angrier she became. She couldn't help but slap Chen Wei on the shoulder. I treat you as a friend, what are you talking about? Ahem. President Meng coughed twice, interrupting the jokes between the young people. If there's anything, you can play around in private, this is a public place. Chen Wei tilted his head to look at Meng Bowen on the side, his eyes lit up slightly. By the way, President Meng, I want to learn something about the rewards of the beast control competition, then let's change a place to chat. President Meng nodded. Shuangjian Beast Control Base Accommodation Area. At this time, Chen Wei and his party came to the hall of President Meng's room. The president's room is indeed different from the contestants' rooms. Even the hall is much more spacious and luxurious. Meng Haoj couldn't help but sigh. President Meng chose not to pay attention and began to introduce the rewards of this beast control competition to Chen Wei. Because the difficulty of this beast control competition has soared, the rewards for the champion are much richer than the previous one. There are 4 rewards in total. First is the cash reward. The champion can get 10 million star coins. Then there are resource rewards. According to the attributes of your pet, the association will probably reward you with level 6 dragon or ice beast control resources, but there should be no rare space resources. The second is the elixir reward, the 4th level top grade elixir concentrated star pill, which can remove some impurities from the Beastmaster's source star and increase the speed of source star cultivation. Finally, there is the secret realm reward, the qualification to enter the Ling Yunang inheritance ruins. Hearing these rewards, Chen Wei nodded with satisfaction. 10 million star coins is not too much, but not too little. The price of a general level 5 beast control resource is about 10 million star coins. But this is just an appetizer, and the rewards later are the big deal. The value of the 6th level king level beast taming resources is extremely valuable. If converted into star coins, it is worth at least hundreds of millions of star coins. However, this level of rare resources are rarely sold in the form of star coins. Generally, only king-level beast tamers can afford it. As for the rare elixir like Kixing Dan, Chen Wei has heard of it a few times. Although it is only a 4th-level elixir, because the medicinal materials required for refining are extremely rare, its value is comparable to that of the 5th-level top-grade elixir. For beast tamers who are not talented enough in source star cultivation, or whose offspring are not talented, the top-grade elixir like Kixing Dan is even more scarce than the king-level beast taming resources. Chapter 131 Relic Information. Although intermediate alchemists can refine 4th-level elixirs, rare elixirs such as the star cultivating pill are generally refined by senior alchemists or even master alchemists. Therefore, in Donghua, the higher the level of the alchemist, the more respected his status. Every emerging alchemist will be wooed and befriended by various forces. Among them, the alchemist who can successfully refine the 1st-level elixir can be called a primary alchemist. The one who can refine the 3rd-level elixir is an intermediate alchemist. The one who can refine the 5th-level elixir is a senior alchemist, and the master alchemist needs to successfully refine the 6th-level elixir. The alchemist who can refine the 7th-level elixir can be called a master, and the 8th-level elixir is a great master. As for the legendary 9th-level elixir, it has only appeared a few times in history, and the extraordinary existence of that level is called the medicine saint by the world. Compared with the alchemists, the pharmacists who came from the Saint Europe Alliance are not so high in status in Donghua. Although energy potions occupy a certain market share in the low-end market in Donghua, the high-end market is dominated by high-level elixirs. Even the king-level beastmasters will not choose to offend a high-level alchemist unless it is necessary. Instead, they will choose to show goodwill in order to resolve the grudge. It is precisely because of this that Chen Wei plans to become a distinguished alchemist. Appraisers and the like have no future at all. If we really talk about actual status, even a master-level appraiser has to bow his head in front of a high-level alchemist. Grandmaster-level appraisers are already the leaders in the industry and first-class well-known figures, but they are not worth mentioning in front of master-level alchemists who can create strong people. Originally, he was good at mental strength. It would be a pity if he didn't become an alchemist with such an impressive qualification. Ahem, President Meng coughed twice, interrupting Chen Wei's meditation. Although the rewards for this Beastmaster competition are indeed amazing, this kid is too happy. The smile on his face is almost uncontrollable. Chen Wei scratched his head and said a little embarrassedly, "Sorry, President Meng, please continue." President Meng said seriously, "The most important reward in this beast control competition is the qualification to enter Ling Yunang's heritage ruins." Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly stunned. This reward was exactly what he wanted the least. Why was it so precious in President Meng's mouth? That's right. After all, it is the heritage ruins of an epic beastmaster. The treasures left inside must be amazing, but it may be too dangerous. If you are not careful, you will die. He is still young and has no shortage of beast control resources. As long as he develops steadily for a few years, he will at least be a king-level beastmaster. There is really no need to get involved in such a dangerous heritage ruins. Don't be afraid of 10,000, just be afraid of one. This kind of good thing should be left to others. As far as I know, this heritage ruins is located in Yangtao City, a second-tier city. It was just discovered this year and will be opened in about 3 months, that is, in March next year. It was discovered this year, so has anyone entered it? Chen Wei asked curiously. Only 3 beastmasters can enter this relic at a time. The association has sent a total of 12 beastmasters. It is said that the best one only made it to the 3rd level. Chen Wei continued to ask, what is the mortality rate, compared with the difficulty of the level? He was more concerned about the casualties of the beastmasters. This is to determine the danger level of the heritage relic. President Meng was slightly stunned, as if thinking of Chen Wei's temperament. His face was a little strange, but he still replied truthfully, a total of 2 beastmasters died, 4 beastmasters were seriously injured, and the others were slightly injured. Chen Wei's pupils shrank. The heritage relic of the Dragon Master is indeed dangerous. The mortality rate is actually close to 20%. Counting the seriously injured beastmasters, and rounding it off, what is the difference between this and risking death? He shook his head violently. No, this heritage relic cannot be visited. It is better to exchange it with other beastmaster resources from President Wu. Seeing that Chen Wei seemed to be retreating, President Meng could not help but persuade him, with your strength, you can easily pass the 3rd level of the heritage ruins. Are there only 3 levels in the heritage ruins? Chen Wei frowned and asked. Of course not, it is said that there are 5 levels in total. President Meng denied. Then can I exchange this entry qualification for beast control resources? This is the heritage ruins of the Dragon Tamer. Do you really have no idea at all? Meng Bowen was a little puzzled. For such a precious epic heritage ruins, ordinary beastmasters can't even get it, so why doesn't Chen Wei seem to be rare at all? Try your best, and the bicycle will become a motorcycle. If Chen Wei can successfully obtain Leng Yunayang's inheritance in the ruins, he will definitely be a leading figure of the new generation of Donghu country in the future. There is even a certain chance to become a legendary beastmaster. With such a good opportunity, he actually. Hearing this, Yu Zilman and Meng Heoj on the side also looked at Chen Wei with surprise. They didn't expect Chen Wei to be so steady that he even disdained the heritage ruins of the epic dragon rider. It's really a matter of life and death. Rather than accepting the inheritance of others, I would rather walk my own path on my own, Chen Wei said righteously. President Meng stopped talking immediately. If it weren't for the age limit of this heritage ruins for beastmasters, he would have wanted to enter the ruins to receive the inheritance. How could you, the new beastmasters, get the chance? After a moment of silence, President Meng said, the ranking rewards for the beastmaster competition are decided by President Wu. It's useless for you to tell me this. If you really don't want the qualification to enter the heritage ruins, you can communicate with President Wu, but you shouldn't be able to exchange for other beastmaster resources. The qualification to enter the heritage ruins is determined by the Beastmaster Association. Even if you give up the opportunity, you won't get any compensation. I understand, thank you, President Meng. Chen Wei nodded slightly. It's okay to give up. With Bai Luo here, if it is a simple king-level heritage ruins, he will definitely not miss it. But the epic heritage ruins are too risky. It can even make him ignore the huge temptation. After returning to his room, Chen Wei took out a black business card from the star ring. He thought he would use this card, but he didn't expect it to be so soon. Beep, beep. After the call was connected, Chen Wei subconsciously said, Hello, President Wu, I am Chen Wei. I want to consult you about some issues. Just call me senior. If you have any questions, you can talk to me directly. Seeing President Wu's kind voice, Chen Wei also relaxed a lot. Senior, I heard that the top 3 beastmasters in the competition will automatically obtain the qualification to enter the heritage ruins. Wu Wei's voice was a little surprised. Yes. It seems that you have heard the news too. Don't worry, Senior here to promise you, it is your qualification, no one can take it away. Chen Wei was stunned, he didn't mean that. Chapter 132 Legendary Dragon Egg. What the hell is this? Someone is vying for the qualification, isn't that a good thing? It's just right to give the qualification directly to him, maybe I can earn some favors. Just when Chen Wei was about to explain, President Wu said domineeringly, as a dragon master, I know how important Leng Yunayang's heritage relics are to Dragon Masters. The rules set by the Hanyang Provincial Beastmaster Association cannot be changed. Even if the Hailan Provincial Beastmaster Association wants to temporarily enter and share a bite of meat, it's just wishful thinking. Chen Wei nodded. This is indeed correct. You know, in Donghua, although there is a relationship of mutual assistance between each province, there is also a competitive relationship. The heritage relics discovered in Yangtao City naturally belong to Yangtao City. Even if this second-level city can never crack the heritage relics, the ownership of this relic belongs to Hanyang Province. It's not the turn of the Hailan Provincial Beastmaster Association to compete for the beast resources. Although he doesn't want to enter, this qualification can also be given to the Yangling Four. As the president of the Yangling City Association, the senior should not disagree. Yes, but I think, Wu Wei's continued, yes, you also want to give them a loud slap, right? I knew that with your talent, you couldn't stand this. Chen Wei wanted to say that you misunderstood, but President Wu didn't give him a chance to speak, and even broke a big news. What's the friendly mutual assistance? In fact, the Hailan Provincial Beast Taming Association is eyeing the legendary Emperor Dragon Egg in the ruins. Hearing this, Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank, and his voice was very surprised. Legendary Emperor Dragon Egg. Is it an active dragon egg? Isn't Leng Yunayang an epic dragon tamer? He actually left a legendary Emperor-level dragon egg in the heritage ruins. If a Beastmaster obtains the dragon egg in the ruins and can successfully recognize the master, wouldn't it be possible to become a legendary Beastmaster? Although the time for the dragon egg to hatch and grow is very long, as long as there are sufficient beast resources to nourish it, it may be difficult to say whether it will become a legendary Beastmaster, but becoming an epic Beastmaster is basically a foregone conclusion. President Wu smiled and said, that's right. Although the new batch of ruins explorers ended up in failure, they all came out safe and sound today. The record of the ruins has also been refreshed to the 4th level. According to reliable information provided by the warriors, there is still a legendary dragon egg that is rare in a century in the heritage ruins. If it weren't for such a rare and precious legendary resource, the Hailan Provincial Beast Taming Association would not choose to put down its face and plan to get involved. Failed and safe? Hearing this, Chen Wei's eyes lit up slightly. Oh, that's right. He always thought about how dangerous the epic ruins were before, but he ignored something important. Whether the breakthrough is successful or not, you can choose whether to exit the ruins. As long as he doesn't rush and doesn't covet the beast resources, it seems pretty good to mix in the rewards in the first 3 levels. After all, it is the qualification for the ruins that he got through his own efforts. It's a pity to waste it like this. As for the extremely difficult 4th and 5th levels, such dangerous levels can be left to those ideal Beastmasters to break through. President Wu, Director Han is really well informed. The latest information in the heritage ruins will be open to the Beastmasters who enter. Do you want to know some information about the dragon egg? Chen Wei was slightly startled. He didn't have this idea. President Wu continued, yes, with your talent and strength, you can definitely break through to the 5th level of the ruins. Maybe you really have a chance to get the real dragon egg. According to the environmental monitoring of the ruins, the main attribute of the legendary dragon egg is most likely Earth. If you want to gain the recognition of the dragon egg, it is best to prepare more Earth-based high-level Beastmaster resources. Chen Wei, there is a chance, but the risk of a good thing like a real dragon egg is not low. He will only hang around at the 3rd and 4th levels at most, and forget about a 5th level. Thank you President Meng for your advice. Chen Wei took a deep breath, chatted for a few words, and decisively chose to end the topic. Not every Beastmaster genius will choose to forge ahead. Unlike other geniuses, when resources are temporarily sufficient, he wants to retreat. On the other side, looking at the phone in front of him, Wu Wei showed an interested smile on his face. The legendary dragon egg is really tempting. In order to increase the entry qualifications of various forces to the ruins, his phone was almost blown up in the past 2 days. I don't know who will get this dragon egg. Is it the slightly declining Wallen, or the newly emerging Chen Wei? It's really exciting. This legendary dragon egg, not only those old guys want it, but he also wants it. In the restroom of the players, Chen Wei took out a void star stone from the star ring between his fingers. Looking at the tempting pure silver stone in the palm of his hand, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with a trace of fascination, and then he put it into his slightly opened mouth without hesitation. This kind of treasure that can enhance the strength and mental power of the source star is of course the sooner it is taken, the better. Feeling that this star stone is a bit difficult to swallow, he took out a cup of linksy water from the star ring and swallowed it together with the stone. After swallowing the void star stone into his stomach, Chen Wei didn't think much, and directly closed his eyes to meditate and began to practice the source star. The originally calm source power around was gradually aroused. Strands of source power airflows wandering between heaven and earth followed Chen Wei's meditation and slowly drilled into his body, and then infused and nourished his source star bit by bit. At this moment, the empty fantasy star stone that Chen Wei swallowed into his stomach turned into a majestic pure energy. Part of the energy directly merged into his body, and a large part of it flowed slowly to his source star along the meridians in his body. Wherever this pure energy passed, it actually brought Chen Wei a cool and refreshing feeling, and even the slightly heavy source star in his mind became stable and relaxed. It is worthy of being an extremely rare 4th level space resource. Feeling the rapid changes in his body, Chen Wei couldn't help but show a trace of joy on his face. Then his mind sank, and he concentrated on speeding up the refining of the empty fantasy star stone. With a reduction of the fusion of this pure energy, the size of Chen Wei's source star not only increased a little, but even the originally bright orange light became deeper and more condensed. Just as the strength of Chen Wei's source star increased at a speed visible to the naked eye, his gifted mental power was also constantly increasing. As his mental power increased faster and faster, his soul also began to slowly surge, and a mysterious power was quietly born from it. Is this the telekinesis that Kai Ling usually uses? Chen Wei thought to himself. Although the meditation practice was not over yet, he could clearly feel the situation in the room through his invisible mental power. Whether it was the pattern of the curtains around the room or the tables and chairs not far away, he could sense it clearly. He even felt that as long as he moved his mind, the tables and chairs in the room would float up. Chapter 133 Contracted Pet. Sure enough, cultivating the source star in the direction of enhancing mental power is a good choice, although there is also a part of the credit of the illusory starstone, being able to awaken the telekinesis at the 3rd level of the source star. This qualification can be said to be unique among many beast masters. Chen Wei's mouth curled up slightly, and then continued to absorb the pure energy in his body. Time passed quickly, and the majestic energy transformed by the illusory starstone was only a little bit left, and finally slowly disappeared. Although the energy of these starstones has been absorbed, feeling the comfort coming from the depths of the source star in his mind, Chen Wei chose to continue meditating and practicing until the orange light on his source star began to dim and bright, and then completely stabilized. The source star at the early stage of the 3rd level is only 1 or 2 months away from being promoted to the middle stage. Chen Wei slowly opened his eyes, and a bright blue light flashed through his eyes. If someone else was here, they would be able to see at a glance that Chen Wei's appearance has not changed at all, but the spiritual temperament contained in him is completely different from before. Chen Wei exhaled lightly, feeling the majestic mental power in his mind. He couldn't help but think. The exquisite table and chairs that were about a few meters away from him were immediately dragged into the air by invisible mental power. Sensing the familiar mental fluctuations, Kai Ling, who was hiding in the quilt, subconsciously stretched out her petite head. Her eyes suddenly widened, and she uttered an incredible exclamation. Yi, Greek letter sigma, degree, you also have mental power. Chen Wei immediately placed the suspended table and chairs, then fell on the bed, holding Kai Ling in his arms with his left hand, and touching her forehead with the fingertips of his right hand. Why, can't I have mental power? Yi, no. Kai Ling narrowed her eyes slightly, and enjoyed the massage of her own beastmaster with ease. Seeing Kai Ling's satisfied face in front of him, Chen Wei couldn't help but fall into deep thought. In order to contract a brilliant king-level pet, the Beastmaster's source star must at least reach the 4th level. If he can successfully get the reward of the star condensation pill tomorrow, his source star cultivation speed should be able to go up another level. In this way, perhaps it will only take 2 years for his source star to break through the 4th level. By then, Kai Ling will be able to fuse the Dragon Yuan and the magic core in her body, thereby giving birth to the Jiaolong Pearl, and her race level will be able to truly step into the Brilliant King. However, because the 4th level source star is the minimum requirement for the contract king, this level of source star is not very restrictive for the king level pet beast, and is even extremely weak. As long as the king level pet beast wants to resist, such a beast control contract can be easily broken. Of course, Chen Wei believes that Kai Ling is an exception. Even without the beast control contract, Chen Wei does not think that the current K-Ling will resist his orders, let alone tear up the beast control contract. He only needs to settle down for a period of time. After entering Zidane University, he will practice steadily for 1 or 2 years, and he will have 2 king-level pets, K-Ling and Bailuo. Step by step, he will soon become a king-level beast control master. As for the hot dragon egg in the heritage ruins, the new beast master may be able to make it recognize the master successfully, but to contract the dragon egg, or even want to hatch it, the beast master's source star cultivation must at least reach the 6th level king. And this level of rare dragon eggs will definitely attract the attention of many legendary beastmasters. Although President Wu did not say it clearly on the phone, Chen Wei could vaguely feel that even if the new beastmaster who entered could bring the dragon egg out of the ruins, it would most likely have to be handed over to the Beastmaster Association in the end, but the handover should also receive a high reward. Otherwise, President Wu would not have mentioned Director Han so many times. At this time, the star ring between Chen Wei's fingers began to ripple with silver ripples. A hint of surprise appeared on his face, and he subconsciously took out his mobile phone from his trouser pocket to check the time. It was exactly 12 o'clock at this time, which was exactly the time agreed by Chen Wei and Bailuo. In the faint ripples, 2 dark brown thick rhizomes first appeared, followed by Bailuo's slightly yellow body, and finally the snow-white titanium crystal puppet in Bailuo's arms. Long time no see, Chen Wei held the 2 pets that suddenly appeared in front of him in his arms. He hadn't seen them for 3 days, and he really missed them. Chirp, good evening. Feeling the long-lost warm embrace, Bailuo couldn't help but open his eyes wide, full of stars. Yutong in Bailuo's arms was sleeping soundly. Even though it has become a sandwich cat roll between Chen Wei and Bailuo, it still has no intention of waking up. Seeing this, Chen Wei frowned slightly and poked Yutong's forehead with a finger gun. Meow, what's wrong? Yutong opened her sleepy eyes and looked at the Beastmaster in front of her, and she seemed to have not reacted yet. Chen Wei reminded, it's time to contract. Yutong didn't refuse, but closed her eyes directly, raised her fluffy and cute head, and looked like she was at the mercy of others. Seeing that Yutong didn't resist at all, Chen Wei was relieved immediately. He used his mental power to communicate with the source star in his mind, and condensed an orange 5-pointed star array around the source star. As the array expanded and brightened, the source star began to gradually emit a dazzling orange light, and finally the orange light shuttled through space and appeared in front of Chen Wei. These overwhelming orange lights flowed from Chen Wei's body to the outside world, converging into a dazzling 5-pointed star array, and then linked to Yutong's forehead, who was looking up and closing her eyes. The connected array flashed a faint orange light from time to time. The conclusion of the beast control contract was very smooth. In just a moment, the orange light spread from Yutong's forehead to its whole body. Chen Wei's mind moved, and Yutong did not resist. The figure directly turned into orange light, disappeared from Bailuo's arms, and entered the star ring in his right hand. Then he clenched his right fist, and a hot flame rose from his fist. After successfully signing the beast control contract with Yutong, his connection with Yutong became closer, and even the power of his life source fire obtained through the red cloud flame array diagram increased a lot. However, due to the large gap in strength, Chen Wei's feedback of pure energy after the successful contract was less. His physique and source star cultivation only increased a little, which was roughly equivalent to half a month of hard training. On the contrary, Yutong gained a lot of gains, and it is estimated that the potential accumulation period of the 10th level of the juvenile has been shortened a lot. Chen Wei activated his identification talent and saw that Yutong's pet beast potential was still at the upper level of the Earth rank, and he couldn't help but frown. Next, maybe I should give Yutong more time to strengthen the dragon power, and it would be best to push its potential to the top level of the heaven rank, but I don't know if K-Ling is willing. Chen Wei, K-Ling, I want to discuss something with you. K-Ling showed a puzzled look. I will give you Yutong's intermediate dragon crystal that is about to transform into a high-level dragon crystal, but you have to give half of the dragon power strengthening time for the next month to Yutong. K-Ling was slightly stunned, and the majestic mental power in her mind began to calculate quickly. Then her eyes lit up, and tears couldn't help but flow from the corners of her mouth. Deal. Chapter 134, Entrusted with Alchemy. K-Ling certainly wouldn't refuse such a good thing. She had eaten a few dragon crystals when she was evolving. Although it wasn't as comfortable as strengthening the power of the dragon, The effect of the dragon crystal on increasing strength and bloodline was immediate. If she hadn't known that you can't eat hot tofu in a hurry. The longer the power of the dragon is strengthened, the better the effect of the dragon crystal. She had eaten up all the dragon crystals on Chen Wei. Chen Wei, okay, it's time for us to strengthen it. Hearing this, Bai Luo's eyes lit up, and a cup of special spiritual liquid immediately appeared in his hand. Shiji, drink more, it feels like you have lost weight recently. Thank you. Chen Wei took the spiritual liquid in front of him, couldn't help swallowing, and then closed his eyes and drank it all. He has become much stronger during this period of time. The effect of this cup of spiritual liquid in front of him is enough to be comparable to the 4th level beast resource. He should be able to absorb it perfectly. As soon as these spiritual liquids entered his mouth, they quickly turned into a vast amount of life energy. Chen Wei did not hesitate and quickly embraced the 3 pets in front of him. A surge of dragon-controlling power suddenly surged out of his body. Time passed quickly as Chen Wei strengthened himself. Have you reached your limit? Looking at the 3 pets beside him who were enjoying themselves, Chen Wei, who had been drained of his physical strength, collapsed on the bed like a salted fish. If it had been before the source star had advanced, he would have fallen asleep by now. Chirp, you've worked hard. Drink a glass of spiritual stream water to take a breath. Bai Luo's palm was glowing with a faint green light, and a glass of transparent boiled water turned into spiritual stream water. It's this familiar feeling again. Looking at Bai Luo, who looked gentle and considerate, Chen Wei's mouth twitched. If he had not been a beast master and had opened a beverage factory with Bai Luo, this unique skill alone would have killed most low-end manufacturers. Meow, Yutong groaned softly, and a thin, light red flame spit out of its mouth. Don't spit fire. Be careful not to burn this place. Chen Wei grabbed Yutong's neck and made it unable to move. After teaching Yutong a lesson, Chen Wei activated his identification talent again. Yutong's potential, Earth-level ultimate the dragon power was used to treat Yutong's narcolepsy before. Now it seems a bit slow to improve the potential by relying on the dragon power alone, Chen Wei muttered to himself. It just so happened that the 4th level fire resource he obtained in the beast control competition, Red Cloud Flower, can improve some of the potential of fire-type pets. However, Yutong's current strength is too low, and it is a bit wasteful to swallow the Red Cloud Flower. The huge fire source power may even make it advance directly, which is a bit of a loss. It seems that the Red Cloud Flower must be refined into Red Cloud Pill to maximize the efficacy of the medicine. However, in order to successfully refine the 4th level pill, at least an intermediate alchemist must be required. At this moment, his mobile phone suddenly vibrated twice, and he received a queue message. Sister Muning, seeing the name displayed on the queue message, he was a little surprised and clicked on the message to check. It's over. I've offended my senior sister before I even entered the door. Chen Wei scratched his head in distress. Although it was a congratulatory message, the information revealed in it was obvious that he had hidden the news about K Ling too tightly and concealed it too deeply. Liu Muning, as the future senior sister, was actually the last beast master to know about the Kongming Frost Dragon. It was no wonder that she would make a few jokes in the message. After chatting for a few words and resolving the awkwardness, Chen Wei directly typed out his request and then quietly waited for Liu Muning's reply. Refine the Red Cloud Pill? That's no problem. You can even watch and learn from the side. Seeing the message, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile brightly. It's a pity that he seemed to be a little too happy too early. The next second, the message continued to pop up. But you have to pay more. The fee for a high-level beast master starts at tens of millions of star coins, which is about the value of a level 5 beast master resource. What kind of reward are you going to provide me? Seeing this, Chen Wei's expression froze. I can't afford it. I really can't afford it. Although the Red Cloud Pill is only a 4th level medium-grade pill, it has always been in great demand in the beast taming mall because it can be used on young pets. However, an ordinary Red Cloud Pill only sells for 6 million star coins in the beast taming mall. As expected, most of the resources in Donghu are concentrated on powerful beast masters and alchemists. The price of this high-level alchemist is really outrageous. No wonder everyone wants to become an alchemist. Who would choose to risk their life to collect beast resources in the secret realm when they can sit and collect money? He was so arrogant that he actually planned to let Sister Muning help him make pills. Chen Wei typed a few words on his phone, then quickly deleted them, and finally sent a tentative message. Sister Muning, can you give me a discount on this fee? Do you believe I can break your bones? Sister Muning then asked. By the way, is this Chain pill you prepared for Yutong, Chen Wei? Yes, I plan to help it improve its potential. After a while, Liu Muning sent a new message. Prepare the materials yourself, and give me one Chain pill that you successfully refine, plus 2.5 million star coins. This is the bottom line, please consider it, then I'll leave it to Sister Muning, Chen Wei replied decisively. He has 2 giant flowers. Even if Sister Muning fails once, she should be able to refine a few giant pills. If Sister Muning can refine a giant pill of excellent quality, then he will make a fortune. Buzz buzz buzz. Chen Wei's phone suddenly rang, and when he saw that the caller was Sister Muning, he chose to answer it directly. By the way, I still have a lot of auxiliary medicines left from refining the red cloud pill for crystal. You only need to prepare the main medicine, the red cloud flower, Liu Mengeng reminded. Okay, I just found 2 in the secret realm, Chen Wei then asked. How many red cloud pills can be refined from one red cloud flower? Liu Mengeng replied. It depends on the success rate. Generally, 2 to 3 pills. Of course, if you are unlucky, you may not get any. Chen Wei, let's not talk about the pills for now. Because of your active performance in the beast taming competition these days, the teacher has noticed you. Do you have any plans recently? Chen Wei was surprised to hear this. Zhejiang University is located in Nanjiang Province, which is separated from Hanyang Province by several provinces and is extremely far away. I didn't expect that teacher Han would pay attention to this beast taming competition. As if noticing Chen Wei's doubts, Liu Mengeng smiled and said, the news of Leng Yunayang's inheritance ruins has long spread throughout the country, and even the teacher has heard of the legendary dragon egg. Chen Wei frowned slightly. Logically, the Beast Taming Association should choose to block such secret information. As a result, the news spread quickly across the country. Did the Hanyang Provincial Beast Taming Association do this on purpose? Or are there other beast tamers trying to take advantage of the situation? Teacher, do you want to inherit the legendary dragon egg in the ruins? Chen Wei asked seriously. Chapter 135 2 Choices. Wouldn't you want such a rare treasure? Liu Mengeng asked. Chen Wei answered truthfully, of course I want it. Let's not talk about whether he can get the dragon egg. Even if he gets the dragon egg by chance, he has no confidence to keep it from the legendary Beastmaster. It seems that even Mr. Han from Rosewood University can't resist the temptation of a legendary real dragon, Chen Wei thought to himself. Dragons are beautiful in Donghu. Every time an unknown real dragon is added to the Beastman's atlas, it can cause a lot of dragon masters to revel, not to mention a legendary real dragon egg with unknown information. That is a precious treasure that is enough to make epic beast masters fight for it, and even let legendary bosses throw their faces to fight for it. Is the teacher going to let me help her take out the real dragon egg from the ruins? Thinking of this, Chen Wei had a bad premonition in his heart. Liu Mengeng immediately smiled and said, it's useless for you to want it. Only legendary beast masters or above are qualified to own treasures of that level, but if you can take out the dragon egg from the heritage ruins and give it to the teacher, then you won't have to worry about beast resources in the future. The speaker is unintentional, but the listener is interested. Chen Wei asked tentatively, is the reward so generous that I don't even have to worry about it? Liu Mengeng smiled. As a Grandmaster Alchemist, as long as she wants, she can forcibly create an epic level strongman even with elixirs. What do you think? Of course, that's a bit exaggerated. A legendary dragon egg is not enough to make the teacher spend a lot of money, but with your qualifications, you don't need so many rare elixirs. Becoming an epic beastmaster in the future is basically a foregone conclusion, she said meaningfully. Chen Wei said with a dry throat, what a pity, the dragon egg is still in the ruins, and I don't know which beast-taming genius can take it out. I heard that the heritage ruins will be opened in 3 months. Maybe you are the beast-taming genius who is destined to be there, Liu Mengeng said softly. Chen Wei, although he was extremely excited at this time, he was not willing to risk his life for the legendary dragon egg. It was okay to be single in the past, but since he had K Ling by Luo, he had to be more cautious. Sister Muning, you are joking again, Chen Wei smiled and changed the subject. Okay, let's talk about business first. Because I didn't know that K Ling had evolved before, I thought you were still a long way from Rosewood University. But the teacher believes that you can enter Rosewood University directly through your excellent performance in the beast taming competition. I want to ask for your opinion. Do you want to enter Rosewood University in advance as a recommended student, or do you plan to wait until the Beast Taming College entrance examination opens next year and enter Rosewood University through the entrance examination? Liu Menging asked. Chen Wei was a little surprised when he heard this. If he nodded in agreement now, wouldn't he be able to enter Zidin University directly, and then learn from and compete with beast-taming geniuses from all over the country? After pondering for a while, he asked curiously, Sister Muning, which choice do you think is more suitable? My suggestion is the second one, but if you want. It's also possible to enter Zidin University in advance. Why? Isn't it said that after entering Zidin University, both the source star cultivation and the growth of pets will usher in double growth? Chen Wei was a little surprised. Liu Muning explained, that's true, but if you enter Zidin University in advance now, you will have 3 months less cultivation time than your classmates. This shortcoming is not a big deal. The key is the entrance examination during the Beast Taming College entrance examination. Hearing this, Chen Wei asked curiously, is there any problem with the entrance examination of Zidin University? The students who rank first in the entrance examination of Zidin University every year can get the 6th level top grade elixir awarded by the school, Nixing Pill, while the recommended students do not have this treatment. With your strength, you are enough to compete with candidates from all over the country for Nixing Pill. It would be a pity to give up such a rare opportunity directly. Nixing Pill. Chen Wei took a deep breath. He missed the Nixing Pill from Tenglong College last time. This opportunity is rare and he can't miss it again. And don't you still have the qualification to enter the Heritage Ruins? Freshmen are not allowed to go out within the first year of entering Zidin University. In other words, entering Zidin University in advance means that I have to give up the qualification to enter the Heritage Ruins. What does the teacher mean? Chen Wei's eyes flashed with doubt. There are quite a few legendary beast masters who are in Leng Yunayang's Heritage Ruins this time. The teacher doesn't want you to wade into this muddy water. It's okay if you don't make it to the 5th level. Beast masters who make it to the 5th level will be targeted, Liu Menging explained. Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly startled and his tone became more puzzled. What did we say before? My opinion is a little different from the teacher. With your luck in the secret realm of Nanbin Mountain, I always feel that you have a high probability of getting the dragon egg. Liu Menging's voice was particularly soft, and he seemed to find his intuition a little ridiculous. Sister Muning, you are kidding again. I only planned to hang around in the 3rd and 4th levels at that time. How could this happen? Chen Wei immediately said with a smile, and even said that he was going to enter the ruins to slack off. At this time, on the other side of the phone, Liu Muning was slightly stunned. She didn't expect Chen Wei to be so steady that he didn't even try the 5th level. That's not bad. As long as you don't make it to the 5th level, those legendary bosses won't target you. Her voice seemed to be a little disappointed. Yet, that's my plan too. After hanging up the phone, Chen Wei fell into deep thought while looking at the phone in front of him. His premonition was right. This Heritage Ruins was indeed very dangerous. Liu Muning's conversation with him just now was more of a warning than an encouragement. After thinking for a while, Chen Wei fell directly on the bed and chose to give up thinking. Anyway, he didn't plan to break into the 5th level, so why bother about it? Isn't it nice to slack off and get rewards? Thinking of this, a wave of sleepiness came over him, and he gradually fell into deep sleep. The next morning, Chen Wei, who was awakened by the alarm on his mobile phone, opened his eyes and felt the exhaustion of his body. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. It has only been 3 days since he strengthened his dragon power. Last night, he suddenly strengthened it with high intensity, and his body was still a little uncomfortable. Fortunately, he had Bai Luo's Linksy water to drink, and a night's rest, otherwise it would be difficult to get up early today. Today is the day when the Beast Control competition officially ends and the awards are presented in public. As the first-ranked contestant in the competition, he can't be late. Chen Wei turned his head to look at Yutong in Bai Luo's arms and Kei Ling curled up on the pillow. He rubbed Bai Luo's head and reminded him, "You can go back to the herbal space to rest." Bai Luo nodded slightly, then disappeared on the bed with Yutong. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136, Dragon Transformation Secret Record. After signing the Beast Control contract with Yutong, Chen Wei could already put it into the star ring. But he was afraid that Bai Luo, a carrot spirit, would be a little lonely in the herbal space, so he gave Yutong to Bai Luo to take care of. After breakfast, Chen Wei and President Meng and his party entered the venue of the beast control competition. At this time, in the vast competition venue, dozens of powerful beast masters with different costumes and outstanding temperament were sitting in the front row seats. So many beast masters, Chen Wei was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the few king-level beast masters in Shushan City were all over the venue, and even several epic-level beast masters appeared. The beast control competition held in Hanyang province has such a great influence. It seems that he can't keep a low profile today. Seeing Chen Wei's face full of surprise, President Meng turned around and asked, "Do you think there are a lot of beast masters here?" "Yeah," Chen Wei nodded. In order to prevent the sudden arrival of the Xianyun's secret realm and cause great damage to the cities and people around the secret realm, every city in Donghu must have at least 2 king-level beast masters stationed. And today, so many beast masters gathered here, is there sure to be no problem? This beast competition is not only a competition between the new generation of each city, but also an important annual meeting of the city association in Hanyang province. This kind of major meeting related to urban development requires at least the level of vice president of the city association to participate. That's why this venue can gather so many beast masters, President Meng explained. Hearing this, although Chen Wei's doubts were heavier, he did not continue to ask questions. The city's safety issues he could think of could not be thought of by the bigwigs in this venue. Yu Zilman suddenly said, "Where are our seats? The higher the points ranking, the closer the seat is. The first row over there is your seat." President Meng pointed to the conspicuous position in the first row of seats in front. So, Chen Wei and others sat directly in the first row, and then quietly waited for the award ceremony to officially begin. Su Beimeng sat in the third row. She looked up at Chen Wei's figure in the front row with a hint of envy in her eyes. After Chen Wei defeated Lu Hongxin, his detailed information spread throughout the Shuangjian beast taming base. A boy from an ordinary family, who had awakened his talent for identification and was born in a third-tier city like Shushan City, could actually defeat Lu Hongxin across levels. This was a huge encouragement and motivation for her who had awakened her mind communication. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but take out her mobile phone and send a message to her mother. "Mom, can a second-level upper-level Jiaolong defeat a third-level middle-level 3-headed flame dragon?" After a while, a message popped up. As the best of the king races, the Jiaolong has a normal source energy value of nearly 10,000 even if it is only at the upper level of the second level, and the 3-headed flame dragon is only a transcendent leader race. Even if its strength reaches the middle level of the third level, its normal source energy value is only about 6,000. If the two meet, the 3-headed flame dragon will be killed instantly. Meng, why do you suddenly ask such a strange question? Haven't you memorized the basic source energy table of pets? Looking at the message her mother replied, Su Beimeng showed a playful smile on her face, and then sent another message. If the Jiaolong is only a transcendent leader race, will the result be different? Su Beimeng waited for dozens of seconds, and looking at the message that had not been replied for a long time, she couldn't help but send in question marks. On the other side, in the distant Longqing city, in an exquisitely decorated laboratory, a large amount of beast control resources were placed around a flying fire ice lizard, and a bright light of evolution was bursting from its body. If you look carefully through the dazzling white light, you can find a wide variety of ice and fire resources around the flying fire ice lizard. Obviously, ice and fire are two contradictory and conflicting attributes, but there are researchers who try to use these two beast-controlling resources at the same time to evolve the beast. This bright evolutionary light did not last long before it suddenly dissipated, revealing the flying fire ice lizard with blood oozing from its body and broken scales. It began to roar in pain. As time passed, its roar became lower and lower until it was barely audible, and finally it died out. Failed again. A gentle woman with black hair curled slightly behind her and wearing a white research suit was staring at the big screen in front of her with a frown on her face. Experiment name, Ice and Fire Dragon. Experimental subject, Flying Fire Ice Lizard. Racial level, Top Elite. Target level, Transcendent Commander. Evolution materials, 1 Kangling Whale Heart. Adult level 5, 2 Fire Essence Crystals, 100 grams of Cold Crystal Frost Sand, a large amount of high-level Ice Source Stars, a large amount of high-level Fire Source Crystals, 1 Ice Flame Crystal Flower, Number of experiments. 23rd, experimental progress. 70%, experimental expected success rate. 79.98%. Although the evolution experiment failed, the flying fire ice lizard can burst out the light of evolution, which means that there is nothing wrong with my thinking, Yin Twixin thought thoughtfully. Buzz buzz buzz, the sound of a mobile phone vibrating suddenly rang in the silent laboratory. Is it Meng Meng? Yin Twixin turned her head and looked at the phone on her desk. In order to prevent the experiment from being disturbed, she would block the contacts on her phone after entering the laboratory, with her daughter Su Beimeng as the only exception. It's such a simple question. Yin Twixin picked up her phone and glanced at the message from her daughter. She frowned slightly, but she quickly replied to the message. Until she saw the next message. Yin Twixin's pupils suddenly shrank, as if she had thought of something. She threw her phone directly into her coat pocket, and even did not clean up the failed test site in front of her, but rushed to her study. In the study on the second floor, a pile of worn-out and yellow books filled the bookshelf. Yin Twixin, who always cherished ancient books, did not care about the damage to the books this time. She searched while sensing with her mental power. There were tens of thousands of books here. Relying on the powerful mental power of the king-level Beastmaster, she quickly found the target. It was an ancient book that had experienced wind and rain. And the pages were seriously missing. Only a few pages with missing corners were left, which were filled with some difficult and obscure ancient texts. Found it, she exclaimed with relief. Yin Twixin is not only a senior researcher, but also a historian. She was able to decipher these ancient texts that were popular 2,000 years ago, during the period of hegemony among the nations. Although the cover of this ancient book was illegible, she could still roughly distinguish 4 large characters, which were the secret records of the dragon transformation. Chapter 137 The Secret of Dragon Yuan. As a king-level beastmaster and historian, Yin Twixin has explored hundreds of secret places and ruins. And this dragon transformation secret record was obtained by her in an extremely dangerous ruin. At first, the young Yin Twixin was very excited, thinking it was some kind of magical skill. But as she gradually interpreted this incomplete book, she found that it was a book that recorded some knowledge about the evolution of real dragons, including the record of Jiaolong Dragon Yuan. It is said that when extraordinary beasts evolve into Jiaolong, the dragon blood in their bodies will condense into Jiaolong Dragon Yuan. At the moment when the Dragon Yuan and the magic core meet, the Jiaolong Pearl is born, and the reborn King Jiaolong will be bred. However, there are also a very small number of gifted Jiaolongs who choose not to meet during evolution, while retaining the Dragon Yuan and accumulating more extraordinary power. Although this will cause the Jiaolong's race level to remain at the Transcendent Commander, and its own strength will be greatly reduced, but the more painful the price, the richer the future harvest will be. Their potential limit will be horribly blessed. If this type of dragon retains the dragon essence in its body, it can break through the limit and advance to the 6th Order King by relying on its own potential. Then, the dragon essence in its body will be sublimated. When the dragon reaches the peak of the 6th Order, the dragon essence that has been sublimated to the extreme will be fused with the 6th Order magic core into a real dragon ball, which will break through the shackles and become a real dragon species of the epic overlord level. If it is blessed with legendary resources, it can even become a peerless real dragon of the legendary emperor level. The immortal dragon that has been advanced in this way is rampant in the world and invincible. Its beastmaster even ended the rule of the alien beasts in the recent ancient times. Humans began to rise, and the profession of dragon tamer began to shine. Even if the dragon has not reached the 6th Order King, the mysterious dragon essence in its body is enough to make the king beast with the strength of the 6th Order peak have a 50% chance of breaking through the limit and becoming the 7th Order epic overlord. Looking at this information, Yin Twixin was very happy at first. But the more she read, the more outrageous she felt, and even felt that it was a bit unrealistic. According to the history of Donghua, the rule of the beasts in the recent ancient times was ended by the 4 great beasts and the 4 great beast masters. However, this secret record of the dragon transformation directly attributed all the achievements to an immortal dragon, which was a bit too exaggerated. So, in order to verify the authenticity of this ancient book, she even began to look for the history of the dragon. After decades, she found that in the past 1,000 years of this star calendar, there has never been a dragon in Donghua whose race level is above the Transcendental Command. On the contrary, she has seen a lot of dragons with a race level above the king. Over time, Yin Twixen gave up the idea of verifying the authenticity of this ancient book. Until today, the news sent by her daughter Su Beimeng shocked her and even recalled this long-forgotten memory. Fortunately, I have never revealed the information in this ancient book. Yin Twixen showed a faint smile at the corner of her mouth, and she was in a very happy mood. She walked to the living room and projected the screen of her mobile phone on the wall. On the screen was the picture of the award ceremony of the Hanyang Province Beast Taming Competition. This level of live broadcast is not open to ordinary people and ordinary beast masters, but as a king-level beast master, she naturally has the right to watch. While watching the award ceremony, Yin Twixen asked her daughter about the detailed information of this commander-level dragon. After learning that this dragon is an ice-type and a rare space-type dragon, her eyes lit up. The reason why she conducted so many experiments on ice and fire dragons is that she wanted to evolve her pet into a black frost red dragon. That is the legendary powerful real dragon that controls the two opposing forces of extreme ice and fire. Although it is a bit too early to take out the dragon essence at this time, and the effect will be much worse if it is taken out too late, it will not be my turn, Yin Twixen murmured in a low voice. She is also a little hesitant now. If no action is taken within the next 6 months, with Chen Wei's strength and talent, entering the 5 major universities of Donghu is basically a foregone conclusion. The college life of the 5 major universities of Donghu is as long as 5 years, and the most outstanding individual graduates can even become Master Beast Masters. By then, the 5th Order Command-level Space Dragon would be enough to allow a Master-level Beast Master to escape from a King-level Beast Master. If the attack fails, her act of killing the 5 Donghu students will be exposed, and the consequences will be extremely serious. To put it another way, even if Chen Wei's talent is not as evil as she expected, there are too many variables in 5 years. That's a chance to become an epic beastmaster. If she can successfully obtain the dragon essence and let her pet advance to an epic overlord, even if the act of killing Chen Wei is finally leaked, the punishment will be enough to bear. After all, an epic beastmaster is one of the most important figures in Donghu. Thinking of this, Yin Twixen's eyes flashed a trace of cruelty. Shuangjin Beastmaster Base Venue. Chen Wei stood on the stage, and his powerful and sharp mental power instantly sensed the large number of curious eyes projected from the audience, and he suddenly felt a little nervous and excited. It was the first time he stood on such a big stage, being watched by so many Beastmasters, and even picking a strong one from them could kill him instantly. It was impossible not to be nervous in this situation. He used his mental power to suppress his inner tension and tried to make his expression look more natural. Although it's a bit strange to say this, have you noticed that Chen Wei looks much better today than before? Meng Haoj looked at Chen Wei on the stage and said with some doubt. Yu Zilmin, I think so too, his appearance hasn't changed at all. President Meng glanced at Meng Haoj and explained, that is the change in temperament caused by the qualitative change of mental power. When Chen Wei masters it, this temperament can be freely controlled. The direction of his source star cultivation should be the strengthening of mental power, but even so, this progress speed is also very exaggerated, President Meng added. Meng Haoj was a little surprised. Then won't I be able to become more handsome in the future? President Meng, your main direction of strengthening is the strength of the source star. If you want to have a qualitative change in mental power, you must at least have a 4th level source star. Hearing this, Meng Haoj's face darkened. His source star is only in the early 2nd level now. If he wants to reach the 4th level, it will take at least 6 or 7 years. No wonder he was able to defeat Wallen. This old guy Meng Boan really found a treasure. Guan Henry frowned as he looked at Chen Wei, who seemed a little calm on the stage. He actually developed telekinesis at the age of 18, and he has a talent for identifying it. The young people nowadays are really more terrifying than each other. While Guan Henry was in doubt, the Beastmasters present were also shocked. They were not ordinary beings, and their mental powers were extremely sharp. Chen Wei's huge mental power, which had just broken through and was even slightly fluctuating, was particularly conspicuous in their eyes. Chapter 138 The Best Star Collection. Successful just like that, sitting in the audience, watching Chen Wei take the prize from President Wu, Yu Zilman thought in a daze. Her gamble succeeded ahead of time, and she should be happy. But why is she feeling a little disappointed now? It's easy for a girl to chase a boy. If she's attracted to him, she can launch an offensive now. Meng Haoj on the side couldn't help but speak. Yu Zilman frowned. What are you talking about? Meng Haoj coughed lightly. Nothing. He has known Yu Zilman for many years, and he can still roughly feel whether Yu Zilman has that intention in her heart. But there is really no need for him to get involved in such things. As a friend, a reminder is enough. After hesitating for a while, Yu Zilman said softly, instead of wasting time to understand a person, it is better to seize the time and become a king-level beastmaster as soon as possible. Hearing this, Meng Haoji was slightly startled. Yes, the life of an ordinary beastmaster is only a short 100 years, while the life of a king-level beastmaster is as long as 300 years. If you can't break through the difficult level of the king, even the most beautiful beauty will become a dry bone under the ruthless years. No wonder Yu Zilman dared not speak out. At this time, Chen Wei, who had received the prize, returned to his seat and asked curiously, "What are you talking about? Why do you look so sad?" Yu Zilman smiled and chose to change the subject. She looked at the medal hanging on Chen Wei's neck and asked curiously, "Is this medal made of gold or source gold?" Chen Wei smiled and said, "Of course it's source gold. As a rare and precious metal, source gold is in short supply on the market and is generally the main material for forgers to create high-level source tools. This thing has a higher purchasing power than star coins in the Beast Taming Mall, and is only inferior to the contribution value of the Beast Taming Association. But the star coins that can be exchanged are the same, and 1 gram of source gold can be exchanged for tens of thousands of star coins. This exquisite source gold metal is about more than 200 grams, and its value alone is more than 2 million star coins. Not to mention the honor contained in it." After chatting with Yu Zilman, Chen Wei sat upright, trying to keep his demeanor decent, and then quietly watched the award ceremony. There was no way. The surprised looks from the surrounding beastmasters from time to time were really a bit scary. As expected, the second place in the next beast competition was Lu Hongxin. On the contrary, the third place contestant was beyond Chen Wei's expectations. He looked at Gu Zulan, who was the focus of the audience on the stage, and his face became a little strange. Gu Zulan, who had taken away all the beast resources from him, could still enter the top 3? How many people did she offend in the secret realm? No, how many contestants did she plunder the beast resources of? The award ceremony of the beast competition ended successfully in the morning, and from noon to afternoon was the time for the presidents of the city associations in Hanyang province to hold an important meeting. After separating from President Meng, Chen Wei and his friends went directly to the lunch restaurant for dinner. The feast prepared by the Beast Association was very rich. Looking at the food in front of him, Chen Wei summoned the colorful spirit from the star ring as soon as possible. But before he and Kai Ling had a good meal, many contestants came forward to greet him and said they wanted to make friends and discuss some issues about the cultivation of dragon pets. Chen Wei could discuss research issues with them naturally at first, but since when, several outrageous beastmasters suddenly began to introduce their talented, beautiful, gentle and lovely sisters to Chen Wei, which made him very annoyed. You know, the new beastmasters participating in this competition are all around 18 years old, which means that their sisters are all under 18. Damn, these beastmasters who introduced their sisters are too cruel. So, feeling that the situation around him was getting more and more wrong, Chen Wei hurriedly left the lunch restaurant without even eating a few more bites of food. Seeing this, Yu Zilman also lost her appetite and left with Chen Wei. Looking at the figures of Chen Wei and Yu Zilman leaving, Meng Haoji's mouth corners slightly raised, and he casually fed the remaining bones in his hand to the thunder tiger lion lying on the ground. Then he murmured in a low voice, "There must be something wrong between these two people." Chen Wei strode out of the restaurant and sighed to Yu Zilman beside him. "They are too exaggerated." He had heard about the matter of catching a son-in-law under the list before, but this was the first time he had seen such behavior. Yu Zilman said calmly, "Regardless of gender, the more outstanding the talent of the beast-taming geniuses, the more popular it is. You will get used to it after seeing it more." "Yi, my lunch." Kai Ling, who was wrapped around Chen Wei's arm, raised her head with a somewhat unhappy expression. She had just eaten half of the dishes on the table, and half of the food was left untouched. Chen Wei couldn't help but smile. With Kai Ling's current appetite, the food provided by the lunch banquet was at most for her to taste. Only the beast-taming resources rich in source power could really feed her. Looking at the star ring on his finger, Chen Wei's heart moved, and then he said softly, "By the way, I plan to apply for Rosewood University next year." Yu Zilman was slightly stunned, and a happy smile appeared on her face. Among the 5 universities in Donghua, The one she wanted to get into the most was Rosewood University, even though her chances of being admitted were slim. But Chen Wei's admission to Rosewood University should be a sure thing. She turned her head and looked at Chen Wei with her bright eyes. "Can I ask you to do me a favor?" Chen Wei smiled and replied confidently, "No problem, Yu Zilman. You didn't even ask what the problem was. Aren't you afraid that I'll cheat you?" Chen Wei looked at Yu Zilman deeply. "I'm not stupid. You said before that you wouldn't make it difficult for me. If you really want to cheat me, won't I refuse?" Hearing this, Yu Zilman's expression froze, and then quickly returned to normal. She changed the subject and said, "The credits of the 5 universities in Donghu can be exchanged for beast resources. If you have enough credits, I want you to help me exchange for a star concentrating pill." Star concentrating pill? Chen Wei was slightly startled. Isn't this the reward he just got on the morning? Yu Zilman, the market price of ordinary Qixingdan is more than 10 million star coins, but it is extremely difficult to buy. The price of the top-grade Qixingdan exchanged from the 5 major Donghua is as high as 30 million star coins. At that time, I can pay a 50% premium, which is 45 million star coins, or use the same value of beast resources to purchase it. Chen Wei nodded without hesitation. No problem. Yu Zilman did not make any mandatory requirements, and even the question of whether the credits were enough for the exchange was decided by herself. The highlight was 2 words: trust. Between friends, he could still accept such a simple request. This decision had nothing to do with the Kongming Stone Star Ring worth tens of millions on his finger. Chapter 139, Cold Chi Green Blood. "Thank you. I'll leave it to you," Yu Zilman said with a smile. The rare 4th-level Qixing pill, which can improve the efficiency of source star cultivation and has no side effects, is as expensive as a 5th-level pill and as rare as a 6th-level pill. Although a Beastmaster can only take 2 pills at most in his lifetime, this precious pill is not even available to ordinary Beastmasters. With the help of her family, she has already taken a Qixing pill of ordinary quality. Although she can still take a 2nd pill, she has not been able to buy a 2nd pill because this pill is too scarce. After she heard that the efficacy of the top-grade Qixing pill is twice that of the ordinary Qixing pill, she was even more unwilling to take the ordinary Qixing pill. Don't underestimate this difference in efficacy. For the same Beastmaster, it can at least increase the speed of source star cultivation by several levels. In response to the thanks, Chen Wei changed the subject and said, "Which university are you going to apply for next year?" Yu Zilman was silent for a while, then said, "Zhitan University." Chen Wei was slightly startled, looking Yu Zilman up and down. A puzzled look appeared on her face. "What's wrong?" Chen Wei couldn't help but ask, "Are you going to become an alchemist too?" Yu Zilman's eyes widened. "You don't want to become an alchemist, do you?" She didn't understand. With Chen Wei's outstanding talent, couldn't he just be a dragon master? But she changed her mind and thought that with Chen Wei's current terrifying mental power, it would be a pity if he didn't become an alchemist. Hearing this, a trace of doubt flashed in Chen Wei's eyes, and he asked back, "Aren't you?" Yu Zilman covered her forehead with her hand, and her tone was a little helpless. In addition to the alchemy department, Zhitan University is also famous for the combat department and the cultivation department, especially the wood, fire, water and ice pet cultivation. My innate talent is the ice department, and my mental power is not high. How could I want to become an alchemist? Hearing this, Chen Wei showed a trace of regret on his face. It was a waste of joy. He thought he could have another partner to discuss and learn with each other on the road to learning alchemy. After saying goodbye to Yu Zilman, Chen Wei returned to his room. He sat cross-legged on the bed and took out the reward for the beast taming competition from the star ring. He took a deep breath and then opened the exquisite gift box in front of him. The first thing that caught his eye was a high-end black card, a bottle of energy potion with a blue color, and a white jade bottle. Chen Wei picked up the card and took a look. It was an anonymous black card of the Beast Taming Bank. He only needed to perform a simple operation, and the huge amount of money on this card could be quickly transferred to his account. He then picked up the azure potion in front of him. Under the potion, there was an instruction manual placed thoughtfully. After Chen Wei glanced at the instruction manual, he activated his identification talent on the potion, Cold Chi Blood, 6th level dragon and ice energy liquid. An energy potion made by purifying the blood of the descendants of the epic overlord Cold Chi Dragon. After taking it, pets of the ice and dragon types can greatly increase the ice source power and physical strength in the body. And the ice and dragon skills will be blessed by a part of the B blood, causing additional freezing damage. Note, it is not recommended for non-dragon pets to take this potion. Dragon pets below level 6 can be used for digestion in multiple times. Dragon pets below level 3 are recommended to take 1 drop at a time. Seeing this, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with surprise. The ice and dragon abilities added by this bottle of cold chi green blood are very suitable for K Ling's future development. It should be carefully selected by President Wu. You are worthy of being a senior. It's awesome. The level of cold chi green blood is very high. With K Ling's current strength, she can only drink 1 or 2 drops at most at a time. It will take a long time to drink it completely. This also means that K Ling's strength will usher in a period of rapid development before the cold chi green blood is consumed. Chen Wei handed the potion to K Ling and asked softly, "This is your future cultivation resource. It can quickly become stronger. Do you want to try it first?" K Ling stared at the blue potion in front of her eyes and nodded without hesitation. "Chen Wei, open your mouth." K Ling immediately raised her head and opened her mouth. In order to facilitate multiple uses and to tightly seal the vast energy in the bottle, this bottle of cold dragon green blood has a unique opening mechanism. After Chen Wei opened the mechanism, an extremely cold breath instantly spread out of the bottle. He quickly dropped a drop of cold dragon green blood on K Ling's mouth, and then locked the mechanism to save it. Just 1 drop. K Ling smacked her lips, as if she was a little dissatisfied. However, the next second, a vast source of power burst out from K Ling's body, and even her body surface began to be covered with a thin layer of frost. It's just a drop of energy liquid, but the effect is so exaggerated. It really deserves to be a 6th level potion. Seeing that K Ling closed her eyes and practiced hard in the next few minutes, without any discomfort on her face, Chen Wei nodded with satisfaction. Then, he cast his eyes on the white jade bottle beside him. The energy potion awarded by the Beast Taming Association is as high as the 6th level, while the rewarded pill is only the 4th level top-grade concentrated star pill. It seems that this top-grade concentrated star pill is indeed extremely rare for Beastmasters, and even in short supply. There is also an instruction manual under the white jade bottle, but there are only 4 simple characters on it. Take it directly. Seeing this, Chen Wei shook his head, took out an ordinary-looking gray pill from the white jade bottle, and activated his identification talent. After confirming that the pill was correct, he swallowed the concentrated star pill into his stomach, closed his eyes and began to meditate and practice. Of course, the sooner you take this top-grade pill that can increase the speed of source star cultivation, the better. Unlike the experience of taking the Void Star Stone before, Chen Wei only felt a cool and refreshing pure energy slowly merging into his source star. The source star cultivation, that was originally stagnant at the beginning of the 3rd level, is rapidly increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. As time passed, he even broke through the realm with a momentum as powerful as a bamboo, and easily advanced to the middle stage of the 3rd level. Just when Chen Wei successfully advanced, the size of the source star in his mind began to shrink slowly, and the strength of the source star slowly increased. Seeing this, Chen Wei was not nervous. He could clearly feel that the source star that was previously nourished by the Void Star Stone seemed to be more fully filled, and even the speed of meditation with eyes closed was 20% to 30% higher than before. Chen Wei couldn't help but immerse himself in practice. When he woke up from meditation, night had already fallen. Chen Wei slowly opened his eyes and exhaled. Not far in front of him, Bai Luo appeared quietly, holding a cup of special spiritual liquid in his hand, looking at him curiously. Chirp. Good evening, Chen Wei. Chapter 140 Advanced Dragon Crystal. The next day at noon, Chen Wei, who was sent to his door by President Meng, said politely, "Thank you, a big boss in the city." The president of the Beast Taming Association actually personally drove him home. This was the first time he enjoyed such treatment, and he even felt a little swelled in his heart. "Thank you for your hard work in this beast taming competition." President Meng coughed lightly, and his tone was a little serious. "By the way, I forgot to tell you one last thing. The evolution route of the Void Frost Dragon that you submitted to the Beast Taming Association has definitely failed." Hearing the word failure, Chen Wei was shocked and puzzled. The submitted information is very detailed. Did the association succeed in evolving even a cold jade snake? The pets used by the Beast Taming Association for evolution experiments are generally very talented, and they should not be completely wiped out. As we all know, the higher the potential of a pet, the higher the success rate of racial evolution and the better the increase in strength. In the secret realm of Nanbin Mountain, Kayling passed the baptism of the Shy Ancient Snow Pool, and her potential reached the upper level of the heavenly rank. The probability of evolution failure is extremely low, which is why Chen Wei is relieved to let Kayling evolve. President Meng explained, according to the evolutionary route you provided, the association discovered another leader-level form of the cold jade snake by chance, but unfortunately, according to this route, no cold jade snake can evolve into the void frost dragon. Hearing this, Chen Wei suddenly widened his eyes with lingering fear, that Kayling, even now, when he thinks back, he is surprised by Kayling's boldness at the time. If he hadn't heard Kayling's story afterwards, Chen Wei would not have known that Kayling actually burned all the blood in his body during the evolution, trying to use his usual enhanced dragon controlling power and intermediate dragon crystals to ascend to heaven and directly transform into a dragon. Fortunately, the mysterious core dragon scale at the end played an important role, otherwise Kayling would really be GG. President Meng looked at Chen Wei deeply and said, Kayling's situation may be a special case. Because the association could not find the same active dragon scales in the secret realm of Nanbin Mountain, the dragon scales of other epic true dragons were used as evolution materials. Perhaps this is why none of the cold jade snakes participating in the test succeeded. In other words, Kayling is the only one who has the evolved form of Kongming Frost Dragon. She is a special evolved pet. Special evolved? Chen Wei was a little confused. It was the first time he heard this term. President Meng explained, the so-called special evolution type is a special pet that is unique. There is only one example, and it cannot be successfully replicated. Kayling evolved from a high-level extraordinary cold jade snake into a transcendent and commanding dragon. Even the researchers of the association cannot understand this huge leap in bloodline. At this point, President Meng smiled and said, so the association speculated that the dragon scale you used is very likely from the core dragon scale of a legendary true dragon. The true dragon blood contained in it is extremely pure, so it can break the convention. Otherwise, with the bloodline of the cold jade snake, it can only evolve into viper-type pet at most. Chen Wei nodded thoughtfully. President Meng continued, although the Shushan City Association's verification project failed, because this evolutionary route has a very high upper limit and strong plasticity, this research project has been handed over to the Hanyuan Provincial Beast Taming Association and listed as a confidential research project. Hearing this, Chen Wei blinked his eyes. Confidential research project? Does it mean that I can't provide Kayling's evolutionary route to others and can only use it for myself? President Meng said, yes, but as compensation, you will receive a large amount of contribution value rewards. A large amount? Chen Wei's eyes lit up slightly. President Meng smiled and said, the current contribution value compensated by the association is 1,000. If the research project of the Provincial Beast Taming Association is successful, you will get more contribution value in the future. Chen Wei's expression froze. After hearing the word a large amount, perhaps because his expectations were too high, he thought that the association would compensate a lot of contribution values, but he didn't expect it to be only 1,000 contribution values. But he changed his mind and thought that Kayling's evolutionary form only provided ideas for the researchers of the association. These 1,000 contribution points are already a considerable income. Okay, Chen Wei nodded immediately. President Meng said with a smile, this is the authorization agreement and the confidentiality agreement. Just sign these two agreements. If the research project has a breakthrough, the association will provide you with detailed evolution information. Of course, these free information also need you to keep confidential. Chen Wei readily agreed, no problem. After returning home, Chen Wei fell on the sofa and fell into deep thought. There are still 6 months before the start of the Beast Taming College entrance examination. His most important task at present is to break through Kayling's strength to the 3rd level. In this way, he will have a greater chance of obtaining the Ningxing pill from Zidane University. Thinking of this, Chen Wei carefully scanned the surroundings and took out 3 dark-colored intermediate dragon crystals from the star ring. There are 2 ways to use his innate talent, the power of dragon taming. The first is that he directly uses the power of dragon to strengthen the pet, and the effect can be said to be immediate. The speed at which the pet's strength and potential increases increasing day by day, but the help in breaking through the strength level barrier is not as great as the role played by the intermediate dragon crystal. The second method is to spend a lot of effort to strengthen the dragon crystal. High-level dragon crystals have unique effects on the evolution and advancement of pets, but the disadvantage is that the preparation time is too long. Therefore, In order to shorten the early development period, he used the power of the dragon to strengthen the pet much more than the time to strengthen the dragon crystal. Holding 3 dark red crystals in his hand, Chen Wei began to purify and strengthen the intermediate dragon crystal. Every time the source star advances, his innate talent will be greatly enhanced. Without drinking Bai Luo's special spiritual liquid, he wanted to test the limit of his dragon power this time. Chen Wei's mind moved, and the majestic dragon power in his body surged towards the crystal, emitting a faint glow in the palm of his hand. 10 minutes later, an excited smile appeared on Chen Wei's face. Unlike before, he is now full of energy and still feels at ease, even if he strengthens 3 dragon crystals at once. Time passed slowly during the strengthening. Unknowingly, an hour passed, and the dragon crystal in his palm began to burst out with dazzling red light. Sensing this drastic change, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with surprise. Is this going to be promoted? This dazzling light did not last long, about 5 minutes. The next second, 3 light pink crystals appeared in front of him. Chen Wei subconsciously activated his identification talent, Advanced Dragon Crystal, a strange object containing mysterious power, which can allow the blood of extraordinary creatures to trace back to the origin of dragons, and there is a 50% chance of awakening random dragon skills. Chapter 141 Colorful Spirit Advancement. That night, in the spacious courtyard, Kei Ling was looking at the high-level dragon crystal in Chen Wei's hand with expectant eyes, and the slender tail behind her was shaking constantly. There was no trace of aloof and arrogant look. "Yi, I want it, don't worry, here are 3 dragon crystals." Chen Wei glanced at Kei Ling unhappily, and then looked at Yutong in Bai Luo's arms, and asked softly, "Because the dragon crystal just got promoted, I think the previous agreement is a bit inappropriate. Do you want to change it?" Meow. Greek letter Omega? No need to change. Yutong shook her head without hesitation. Compared with the dragon crystal in front of her, she prefers Chen Wei's strengthening of the dragon power. Seeing that the younger brother flatly refused, Kei Ling's eyes suddenly became more moved, and she quickly looked at her beastmaster. "Yi, give all the fire resources I got in the secret realm to Yutong." Hearing this, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile, and touched Kei Ling's warm head with his right hand. "There are too many fire resources, and Yutong can't use them all. It's better to exchange them for other beast-controlling resources, and everyone can use them together. If you really feel sorry, the 2 red cloud flowers obtained in the secret realm are just right for Yutong to use." "Yi, okay," Kei Ling nodded, but her eyes never left the dragon crystal in Chen Wei's hand. "Okay, if you keep looking at it like this, your eyeballs will fall out," Chen Wei teased softly, and then handed the high-level dragon crystal to Kei Ling's mouth. Looking at the dragon crystal in front of her, Kei Ling's eyes flashed with excitement, and she swallowed it without thinking. After a few seconds, Kei Ling shook her little head and said in confusion, "Yi, it seems that there is no change." Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly stunned, and a hint of hesitation flashed in his expectant eyes. He had specially identified this high-level dragon crystal. How could it have no effect at all? It should be because it has not been absorbed and digested yet. Just wait a little longer. 3 minutes later, Chen Wei and Kei Ling were still staring at each other. Did I eat a fake dragon crystal? She even began to doubt that what she ate was not a dragon crystal. How is it possible? Chen Wei said flatly. How could the dragon crystal he had strengthened with so much effort be fake? Thinking of this, Chen Wei tilted his head to look at Bai Luo, who was curious, and a smile appeared on his face. "Do you want to try it, Chiji?" Oh, okay." Bai Luo nodded quickly, his green pupils full of expectation. Chen Wei whispered, "Come on, open your mouth." This time he planned to feed it himself. Bai Luo obediently opened his mouth and slowly swallowed a high-level dragon crystal in Chen Wei's hand. "How is it? How do you feel?" Chen Wei and Kei Ling looked at Bai Luo nervously, wanting to get the answer as soon as possible. He didn't believe that there would be any problem with his talent for identification and dragon-controlling power. On the contrary, Yutong in Bai Luo's arms felt a little bored and yawned lazily. "Chirp, warm and comfortable." Bai Luo burped comfortably and gave Chen Wei a thumbs up. "That's it." Chen Wei frowned. Greek letter sigma, why don't I feel it? Kei Ling's eyes widened suddenly. Then, a strong light burst out from Bai Luo's body. And the brilliance even made Chen Wei unable to help closing his eyes. When the light faded, Chen Wei opened his eyes with a hint of surprise on his face. Bai Luo's body had shrunk by more than half, and his height of about 1 meter had shrunk to about 50 centimeters. the snow-white fur on Yutong's body alone completely blocked Bai Luo's figure. Chen Wei could only see the dark brown rhizome of its lower body. Shiji, I have learned how to change the size as I wish, Bai Luo said excitedly. She had been craving for this dragon skill that can change the body shape freely for a long time, but she had never been able to learn it. Unexpectedly, a high-level dragon crystal helped her realize her dream. Sure enough, there is no problem with the dragon crystal. Chen Wei subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief, and then cast his eyes on Kei Ling beside him. Since there is no problem with this, then the problem is Yi, Cyrillic lettered X, impossible. Kei Ling looked at Bai Luo blankly, and then looked at herself. Her eyes kept moving back and forth between the two of them, her face full of disbelief. With her outstanding mental power, she could naturally sense that a high-level dragon crystal in her body was still motionless. Could she spit it out? Sensing the impatience on Kei Ling's face, Chen Wei comforted her softly. Don't worry, take your time. Kei Ling nodded slightly, but a trace of unwillingness flashed across her eyes. She flew into the air, and the skill of big and small Ruai was activated, and her body instantly returned to its original huge size. What is this? Chen Wei looked at the elegant dragon suspended in the air in surprise. Oh, I don't believe I can't digest it. The majestic source power storm began to erupt from Kei Ling's body, raising a wave of air and dust in the courtyard. At this time, Kei Ling's face showed some determination. Since this dragon crystal does not melt on its own, she will rely on her strength to forcibly refine it. With a thought in her mind, the surging source power flowed to the high-level dragon crystal in her body like a mountain torrent. At the beginning, under the stimulation of the source power, the dragon crystal was not damaged at all, and it had a kind of tenacious feeling of letting him be strong. But as time passed slowly, the surface of the dragon crystal began to show fine cracks under the continuous impact of the source force, which was a sign that the dragon crystal was about to break. At this moment, Kei Ling couldn't help but tremble slightly. Because the high-level dragon crystal in her body was quietly broken at this moment, and instantly turned into two mysterious energies, as if they had consciousness, half of which flowed to the dragon essence in her body, and the other half flowed to the magic core in her mind. The quality of these two mysterious energies was extremely high, which gave her a sense of shock. At the moment when the mysterious energy merged, a dazzling light of advancement suddenly bloomed on Kei Ling's body. Is it time to advance? Chen Wei was slightly stunned. The surprise in front of him came too quickly, and even made him feel a little unreal. You know, a few days ago, Kei Ling's strength had just soared from the lower level of the second level to the upper level of the second level, and tonight it seemed that she would directly break through to the third level. The effect of this high-level dragon crystal is too good. Chen Wei sighed in his heart, and glanced at Bai Luo, who was worried beside him. No, it seems that the effect of high-level dragon crystal is not that good. At least Bai Luo's reaction is very flat. In addition to the abnormal dragon skills, it seems that it does not help much in improving the strength of high-level pets. Chapter 142 Hidden Dragon in the Abyss. Looking at the energy glow formed around Kei Ling's body in the distance, illuminating the courtyard as bright as day. Chen Wei subconsciously closed his eyes, and a burst of ecstasy surged in his heart. Because Chen Wei discovered through the beast taming contract that with a crazy irrigation of the surrounding source power, Kei Ling's aura continued to rise, and her strength also successfully crossed to a new world during this period of time. The brilliant light of advancement began to gradually dissipate, and then revealed Kei Ling's huge and sacred body. Yi, Kei Ling raised her head to the sky and let out an excited dragon roar, and the originally dim sky began to slowly fall snowflakes. Several white and cold snowflakes fell on the tip of Chen Wei's nose. He opened his eyes, exhaled lightly, and a smile that was difficult to conceal was on his face. He could clearly feel that with Kei Ling's advancement, the majestic energy fed back by the beast taming contract was constantly integrating into all the flesh, internal organs, and even every tiny bone in his body. At this moment, Chen Wei's physical fitness ushered in a leap forward improvement. Strong physical strength filled his body, and his muscles became streamlined and full of strength, and even the clothes he was wearing seemed a little tight. He clenched his fists, and felt that there was endless power flowing in his body. Then Chen Wei couldn't help but reach out and touch his hair. It's okay, I've become stronger, but I haven't become bald. After sighing, Chen Wei began to sense the changes in the source star in his mind. It's a pity that although his physical strength has been greatly improved, the source star's cultivation is still at the middle stage of the third level. But he didn't feel disappointed. If the source star's cultivation is so easy to increase, high-level beast masters in Donghu would not be so rare. After venting his excitement in the air, Keiling shrank in size, and then quickly rushed into Chen Wei's arms. Yi, I've advanced again. Looking at Keiling in his arms, Chen Wei couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. Good guy, if it weren't for the significant improvement of his own physique, he would have at least ended up with a broken bone with Keiling's rush just now. However, Keiling was able to control her power to this extent after just successfully advancing, which was already quite good. Thinking of this, Chen Wei's eyes turned to her sharp horns. After this advancement, Keiling's appearance was not much different from before. However, her dark golden dragon horns and the edges of her limbs all had several mysterious silver and blue lines that added a bit of nobility to her. A trace of doubt flashed across Chen Wei's eyes. Every time Keiling's strength advanced, these strange lines would appear on her body, and no one knew what these runes represented. Yi, oh, I have 2 more skills, Keiling said excitedly after noticing the skill knowledge that appeared out of thin air in her mind. 2, Chen Wei was slightly stunned, and the smile on his face became even bigger. There is a 5-layer probability that a high-level dragon crystal will allow the pet beast that consumes it to awaken a random dragon skill. It seems that Keiling has won the jackpot. While communicating with Keiling's thoughts, a glimmer flashed in his eyes, and he directly activated the identification talent, skill. Dragon Blood Zhuanhuang, level, 6th Order Dragon Skill, Introduction. Rumor has it that the dragon blood in dragon-type pets retains some of the power of the ancient dragon god. This skill consumes 80% of the dragon blood in the pet's body as a price, temporarily opens the blood gate, sublimates its own dragon blood to the extreme, obtains some of the dragon god's power, and then obtains strength beyond the limit of its own race in a short period of time. It can only be used in desperate situations, and the pet will fall into a dying state after using it. Chen Wei, what bad luck. Although it is powerful, why is it a skill that kills 1,000 enemies and loses 10,000 of its own? As a space-type dragon, Keiling can just teleport and run away when encountering an enemy that it cannot defeat. There is no need to use this kind of brutal skill that fights to the end. It seems that it can only be used as a bottom of the box. Chen Wei shook his head regretfully, and then he focused his attention on another skill that Keiling had comprehended. Skill, Hidden Dragon in the Abyss, level, 6th level dragon passive skill, Introduction, condensing a special pure yang dragon energy. In the process of daily practice and use of resources, a part of the energy will be converted into dragon energy. The longer this pure yang dragon energy is nurtured, the more powerful the effect of improving qualifications will be, and it can even have the effect of rebirth and resurrection. Note, weak dragon energy does not have the effect of healing, and the host cannot actively activate it, but when the host is in a dying situation, the pure yang dragon energy has a certain probability of automatically triggering, so that it can survive and be reborn. Otherwise, it only has the effect of improving qualifications. Chen Wei looked at the skill information in front of him, and a touch of shock appeared on his face. It was the first time he saw a growth-type passive skill that could improve the potential of dragon pets. In addition to improving qualifications, this skill also has a super strong effect of breaking and then building, and even in desperate situations, it can add an extra layer of life protection for Keiling. Then his mind moved, and suddenly he thought of the first skill that Keiling had just awakened, Dragon Blood Zhuanhuang. One skill causes the player to be a near death after being activated, and the other skill can trigger the effect of bone rebirth only after being in near death. Could these 2 skills be a combination skill? Chen Wei murmured in a low voice. Although he had some guesses in his mind, he had no idea of putting them into practice at the moment. After all, the risk is too great. Yi, Cap, feeling the majestic power in her body, Keiling raised her head proudly. A trace of satisfaction flashed across her pale golden pupils, and she did not hide her joy at all. She liked the skill of Hidden Dragon in the Abyss very much, and even wished she had a few more passive skills with the same effect. As long as she improves her strength fast enough, her position as the big sister in the team will not be shaken. If she continues like this, her strength will soon catch up with Bailuo. Sensing Keiling's inner thoughts, Chen Wei showed a little surprise on his face. After taking the high-level dragon crystal, Bailuo awakened the big and small Ruai that he had been thinking about. Keiling pursued strength more. After using the dragon crystal, she realized the hidden dragon in the abyss that could speed up the speed of strength improvement. According to the talent appraisal, The dragon skills awakened by this high-level dragon crystal are random, but perhaps different dragon skills can be awakened according to the wishes of the user? It is not difficult to verify this conjecture. Chen Wei can first find the appropriate dragon skills in the skill atlas, and then tell K-Ling to learn the skills, and then let her take the high-level dragon crystal after stimulating K-Ling's interest. After many tests, he can easily verify the experimental results through the skills that K-Ling finally comprehended successfully. The only drawback is that it consumes a lot of high-level dragon crystals. It seems that I have to save more high-level dragon crystals in the future, Chen Wei sighed softly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 Overlord Puppet. For low-level pets, it is difficult to learn a high-level skill unless they have excellent talents. Therefore, compared with the role of high-level dragon crystals in breaking through strength, Chen Wei attaches more importance to the effect of awakening dragon skills. Even Lu Hongxin, the Wallen, his pet, the three-headed flame dragon, has only learned a few 5th-level skills, not to mention the 6th-level king-level skills. Even with the advanced technology now, some researchers have made high-tech source devices that can even let pets comprehend new skills within 1 second. But those skills that can be learned instantly are all low-level skills, and the highest-level skills are only 3rd level. And those skill-transmitting source devices above the 3rd level not only require a long time to learn, but also have a very touching price. Generally, only the local tyrants can afford them. Of course, it is also possible that Chen Wei cannot access such high-end skill-transmitting source devices. Just as he was lost in thought, a familiar vibration sound came from his trouser pocket. After the call was connected, Liu Muning's voice came from the phone. The company has encountered some problems recently. It will take at least a month to refine the Red Cloud pill. The waiting time is a bit long. How about I recommend a mid-level alchemist for you? Chen Wei asked subconsciously. What trouble? Is there anything I can help with? Although he is only a small mid-level beastmaster now, he can't beat ordinary high-level beastmasters with one hand. Liu Munging smiled slightly. It's just a trivial matter. I can handle it myself, Chen Wei. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's late, I can wait. The higher the quality of the pill, the better the effect of taking it. Compared with a mid-level alchemist of unknown level, he would rather wait for Liu Munging for another month. After all, the more potential that a pet in its infancy can accumulate, the better. At this time, in the center of Shushan City, in a bright research room, Liu Munging hung up the phone in her hand, with a hint of excitement on her face. Just today, the evolutionary roadmap of the titanium crystal puppet she was responsible for had some breakthrough progress. If the experiment goes well, within the next month, an unprecedented overlord-level titanium crystal puppet will be born in her laboratory. The time of hard training passed quickly. It had been more than half a month since K-Ling's last advancement. Every night, Chen Wei either used the power of the dragon to strengthen his pet or strengthen the dragon crystal. Only during the day was his source star training time. As for pet training, truly excellent pets would train themselves, and there was no need for the Beastmaster to worry about them, such as K-Ling. Even though Chen Wei was immersed in training, K-Ling's skill progress was still good. She even combined her cold breath skill with the frost embers and improved it into frost dragon breath. With this change, not only did her breath power increase significantly, but her proficiency in frost dragon breath reached the perfect level. Chen Wei, who was shocked by this, entrusted Yutong to K-Ling. That's right, Chen Wei actually tried to let an ice dragon teach the titanium crystal puppet to learn fire skills. You know, K-Ling has a wide variety of skills, but she doesn't have any fire skills. However, the more outrageous thing is that K-Ling actually succeeded. Under her step-by-step teaching, Yutong learned the second-level fire skill, Flame Shock, in less than half a day. This was quite amazing news for Chen Wei. His initial idea was simple, to let K-Ling and Yutong have more contact and develop some tacit understanding, so that they can fight side by side in the future. The so-called skill teaching was just an excuse. Unexpectedly, there was a wrong move. Chen Wei asked K-Ling to teach skills. As an ice-type pet, K-Ling really dared to teach, and achieved remarkable results. In order to understand K-Ling's teaching ability, Chen Wei specially watched K-Ling's teaching process today. K-Ling took out her mobile phone, clicked on the skill teaching video of the 3rd level fire skill, Scorching Sea of Fire, and then put it in front of Yutong. Looking at the snow-white puppet in the distance who was concentrating, Chen Wei had a bit of expectation on his face. Could it be that Yutong is gifted, just like K-Ling, and can learn new skills just through videos? After Yutong watched the video, K-Ling played the video again. But this time it was a little different. As the video played, the ice source power continued to gather under K-Ling's dark blue claws. The way to condense the power was exactly the same as the method taught in the video, with the only difference being the attribute difference. After a few seconds, the sea of fire in the video suddenly exploded. At the same time, a large area of snow suddenly appeared on the lawn in the courtyard. Seeing this, Chen Wei was slightly startled. Although K-Ling's way of activating the source power did not change, the huge difference in the attributes between the ice system and the fire system led to completely different ways of using the source power. Although K-Ling condensed a piece of ice in the same way, she consumed a lot of ice source power, and the skill released in this way was not a formed skill at all. However, to Chen Wei's surprise, Yutong not only understood the process, but also learned how to release the skill. Yutong began to practice with K-Ling's movements, and the irritable fire source power was driven by her arms, like a docile elf. The next second, boom! The hot sea of fire instantly gushed out from Yutong's feet, and the surging and violent dark red flames swept the entire lawn. The tender grass turned to ashes in an instant, and even the ground paved with gravel was burned a little red. Put out the fire, Chen Wei ordered hurriedly. Although he was very happy that Yutong had learned the 3rd level fire skill, he couldn't burn his house down no matter how happy he was. Yi, don't worry. Hearing this, K-Ling glanced at the blazing sea of fire in front of her, and the blue dragon breath suddenly spurted out of her mouth. She wanted to appreciate her teaching results, but since her beastmaster had spoken, she could only put out the fire. The temperature in the courtyard changed from extremely hot to extremely cold. The sea of fire that was burning just now disappeared in an instant, leaving only a world of freezing cold ice crystals. Cough, Chen Wei coughed lightly. K-Ling's teaching effect is indeed good, but it is a bit wasteful of grass, and even wasteful of the family. If he doesn't remind them to be more restrained when learning skills, he is afraid that he will have to move when he wakes up from training next time. Meow. At this time, Yutong, who had successfully learned a new skill, saw Chen Wei, and her eyes suddenly lit up. She ran to the beastmaster excitedly. Chen Wei smiled and picked up the fluffy Yutong, and then looked at K-Ling in the air with a proud look on her face. You taught me very well, teacher K-Ling. But next time you teach me, you should pay attention to the range of skills, and don't burn down your house. When K-Ling heard the title of teacher for the first time, a hint of pride appeared on her face. Yi, I will pay attention next time. Chapter 144 Talent Attempt. The courtyard was filled with cold wind and frost. The rapid temperature change caused fine cracks on the bluestone floor, which looked dangerous, as if even a light step would cause the ground to collapse. Chen Wei didn't care about this. Compared with the surprise of Yutong successfully learning the 3rd level skills, the cost of maintaining the courtyard ground was not worth mentioning. So, after observing teacher K-Ling's teaching process, Chen Wei left the courtyard with confidence. Before leaving, he also found 2 fire skills suitable for Yutong from his mobile phone, and then gave them to K-Ling for guidance. Yi, guaranteed to complete the task, K-Ling nodded confidently. In Bailuo's herbal medicine space, after Chen Wei picked the spiritual plants needed for refining medicine, he returned to his specially built alchemy room. Alchemy is not a simple matter. The separation of the essence of medicinal materials, the control of the fire when refining medicine, the gathering of energy when making pills, and other factors all greatly test the mental strength of the alchemist. Even before the fusion of medicinal properties, the raging fire and the essence of the medicine merged, and the magnificent life energy that burst out was enough to shield the perception of those alchemists with weak spirits. Many alchemists who were inexperienced and had insufficient mental strength fell at this critical moment. Therefore, every famous alchemist had extremely powerful mental power. The magnificent mental power in their bodies could even be compared with the spiritual beasts of the same level. Therefore, alchemists who could fight and refine the pills that created the strong naturally became the top forces in Donghua, and Zhejiang University was one of them. In order to prevent himself from being embarrassed in front of his master, who he had never met before, Chen Wei planned to improve his alchemy level during this period of time. After all, it is better to sharpen the spear before the battle. What's more, after practicing the red cloud flame formation diagram, alchemy is also a kind of practice for him, which can improve with source star cultivation. Chen Wei touched the Qingyangding, which looked a little quaint, and a hint of excitement appeared in his eyes. If you want to refine elixirs above the first level, you must have a suitable medicine cauldron. For example, before, his method of boiling medicine in a casserole was not only inefficient, but also could only produce medicine powder of no grade at best. Thinking of this, Chen Wei shook his head violently. Damn, how come this lost memory suddenly appeared in his mind again? Without thinking much, he stretched out his right hand and placed it on the cauldron, urging his mind to carefully sense the medicine cauldron in front of him. Soon, Chen Wei found that at the bottom of the cauldron, there was a fluorite with a green color throughout, and the surface was shining, which faintly brought him a hint of danger. He moved his mind, and the source power in his body slowly flowed into the Qingyangding. Buzz buzz buzz, the medicine cauldron seemed to be stimulated and began to tremble slightly, and the fluorite at the bottom of the cauldron suddenly gushed out a light blue airflow. After a while, the medicine cauldron stopped vibrating, and the misty airflow filled in the cauldron instantly turned into a scorching Qingyang flame that rose up. After several attempts, Chen Wei was probably familiar with the specific use of the Qingyang cauldron. The power of the Qingyang flame depends on the source power he delivers to the cauldron. The more source power he delivers, the more violent and vigorous the fire will be. On the contrary, if the source power transmitted is too little, the flame will become a thin flame. Chen Wei manipulated the size and thickness of the flame with interest until he felt that he was able to control it with his arms, and then stopped to prepare for the elixir. This time he planned to refine the first level top-grade elixir, the Falling Star Pill. The reason why it was named the Falling Star Pill is that although low-level beast masters can speed up their source star cultivation by taking this elixir, taking too much will cause the purity of the source star to decrease, become mixed, and even cut off the future path of cultivation. In addition to low-level beast masters who are eager for success and give up their future, generally only high-level beast masters will choose to take it. But even high-level beast masters only dare to take one pill every 3 days to maintain the purity of their own source stars. Although these limiting factors have greatly reduced the value of the Falling Star Pill, as a pill that can improve the cultivation of the source star, its price in the beast taming wall is still comparable to that of ordinary second-grade top-grade pills. With Chen Wei's current strength, refining ordinary first-grade pills is of no use to him, but the Falling Star Pill is one of the very few exceptions. Chen Wei's star ring flickered, and the medicinal herbs were suspended in the air under his telekinesis. The branches and leaves of these medicinal herbs were stained with a lot of crystal dew, exuding a faint medicinal fragrance. Chen Wei recalled the refining method of the Falling Star Pill in his mind, and then with a move of telekinesis, the upper furnace mouth of the Qingyangding opened slightly, and the safflower grass and half-moon fruit floating in the air first entered the ding. In his slightly nervous eyes, the originally red safflower grass instantly turned black, and then was burned into gray-black powder by the surging Qingyang flames. On the contrary, the banyan fruit was relatively firm and still maintained its shape. Under Chen Wei's operation, the scorching Qingyang flame gradually became thicker, emitting a terrifying high temperature, and the gray-black powder began to slowly approach the surface of the banyan fruit, and then gradually merged into it. As the amount of gray-black powder continued to decrease, the banyan fruit actually emitted a faint fluorescence, slowly turning into a ball of light green liquid medicine. After sensing that the liquid medicine had melted through mental power, Chen Wei used mental power to take the liquid medicine out of the cauldron, and then stored it in a white jade bottle and placed it. He breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that his talent for refining medicine is not bad, and the first step of refining was perfectly achieved without even a trace of mistake. With confidence, Chen Wei's operation became more and more skillful. He put the medicinal materials in the air into the Qingyang cauldron one by one, purified them one by one into the essence of the medicine, and then put them away separately. 20 minutes later, looking at the 15 jade bottles in front of him, Chen Wei nodded with satisfaction. All the medicinal materials needed to refine the Falling Star Pill have been purified into the essence of the medicine by him. Sure enough, the higher the spiritual perception, the more convenient it is to purify the essence of spiritual medicine. Thinking of this, a flash of inspiration suddenly flashed through Chen Wei's mind. Since his identification talent can detect the strength level of pets and items, and even the emotions of alien beasts, Why can't it be used to observe and analyze the ingredients and fusion degree contained in medicinal materials? The identification talent awakened by ordinary people is of no help in the process of refining medicine, but his awakened identification talent is not ordinary. Other people's identification talents cannot perceive the emotions of alien beasts, let alone skills, but he can do these 2 points. What if my identification talent is helpful for refining medicine? Chen Wei couldn't help but daydream. He took a deep breath, calmed his inner excitement, and then his eyes lit up, and directly activated his identification talent. Chapter 145, Mutation Talent. Medicine Essence. The medicine essence extracted from agarwood leaves and woodthorn flowers can slightly improve the perception of nerves in a very short time. Looking at the white cloud bottle in front of him, Chen Wei blinked. It seemed that he thought too much. The identification talent could not be used to make pills. Forget it, it doesn't work if it doesn't work. Chen Wei shook his head, but he did not stop the intention of activating the identification talent. He controlled the 15 jade bottles in front of him to float up, and then poured the medicine essences in the bottles into the Qingyangding one by one according to the order of the refining process. After these liquids entered the ding, they gradually condensed into a ball of strange liquid with colorful surfaces under the scorching of the Qingyang flame. Looking at the liquid medicine submerged in the flames, Chen Wei used his mental power and identification talent to control the flames to dry and condense the pill. As time passed slowly, the ding began to gradually emit a faint fragrance, and Chen Wei's eyes were immediately fixed on the liquid medicine in the ding. Now is the critical moment for the pill, and he can't take it lightly. If there is a slight mistake, the falling star pill that has been painstakingly refined will be gone. After a moment, a drop of sweat slowly dripped from Chen Wei's forehead. In front of him, the upper furnace of the Qingyangding was already surrounded by flames, like a miniature cyan sun, and exuding a rich medicinal fragrance. Under this intense high temperature, the energy of the medicinal liquid in the Qingyangding continued to condense and gather, and even the color became darker. Chen Wei's face also became extremely solemn at this moment. He raised his perception ability to the highest level, and the majestic mental power continued to flow out from the source star, tightly wrapped in the medicinal liquid in the Qingyangding. Under his guidance energy, the flames became more and more vigorous, and the deep red medicinal liquid began to condense into pills. When the last medicinal liquid was completely stable, a light red soft light flashed in an instant, and 3 red round pills appeared in the Qingyangding. At the same time, 3 wisps of light red airflow drifted out of the medicine cauldron, and their target was Chen Wei. Chen Wei was slightly stunned. What on earth is this strange thing? The 3 strange air currents were not recorded in the alchemist's manual. Chen Wei wrapped the source power in his palm and tried to stop it with his hand. However, the air current seemed invisible and passed through his palm directly and quickly sank into his pupil. Chen Wei subconsciously closed his eyes and hurriedly urged the source power in his body to try to expel the 3 inexplicable red currents from his body, even ignoring the falling star pill that had just been refined. However, a cool feeling surged from his eyes and even covered his source star. What is this? Chen Wei couldn't help but open his eyes and murmured in surprise. With the fusion of these 3 air currents, he could clearly feel that his vision seemed to become a little clearer, and even the cultivation of the source star was improved a little bit. Although that little bit was insignificant, Chen Wei was very sure that it was not the cultivation increase brought by the red cloud flame formation diagram. Thinking of this, he took out the alchemist's manual given by Sister Muning from the star ring and kept searching for it. No, absolutely not, Chen Wei frowned. There was no record of this situation, and even no similar information could be found on the internet. After pondering for a while, he glanced at the Qingyangding beside him. With a thought, 3 falling star pills that looked very good floated out from the furnace mouth. Is this a problem with the falling star pill or a problem with me? Chen Wei showed a trace of doubt on his face. Since he couldn't find the reason, he would try again. He gritted his teeth and prepared to refine the pill for the second time. With the experience of the first success, Chen Wei carefully started the second pill refining, trying to succeed continuously. However, this time, he failed. Although he was carrying out the same steps and techniques, at the last moment of condensing the pill, he thought of the 3 air currents and hesitated. Even his own mental perception subconsciously tightened, resulting in the failure of the final condensation of the pill. Chen Wei shook his head and collected the waste pills in the Qingyangding, preparing to bury them in the soil in the herbal space as fertilizer to increase fertilizer, and then continue to refine the pill. An hour later, Chen Wei looked at the 5 falling star pills in front of him, and a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. After the success of this alchemy, not to mention 3 airflows, even 2 did not appear. Could it be that it was just an accident just now? Chen Wei thought to himself. In order to explore the reason for the birth of the airflow, he started the 3rd refining. Another hour passed, and 7 falling star pills were floating in the air in the alchemy room, but this time 2 inexplicable airflows appeared again. It's really a problem with the identification talent. Chen Wei was a little surprised. As long as he activated the identification talent during the alchemy process, after the alchemy was successful, the number of airflows would be born according to the number of pills, and then quickly merged into his eyes, as if he was nurturing something. This had to surprise Chen Wei. Could it be that his identification talent has this in use? Chen Wei scratched his head. If he could not use the identification talent to identify himself, he would even want to identify himself now. This inexplicable airflow is temporarily called Dan Qi. His talent for identification could not analyze the process of refining medicine, but he could make the pill produce Dan Qi. Although he didn't know what would be produced after absorbing more Dan Qi, it was always a good thing to improve the cultivation of the source star. However, thinking of the disadvantages of the falling star pill, a new question suddenly popped up in his mind. Would this Dan Qi also have the negative effect of making the source star complicated? Thinking of this, Chen Wei started to refine the pill again, but this time he refined the 1st level pill Feeling Pill, a 1st level medium quality fire pill. After taking it, it can slightly increase the source power content in the body of the fire pet, and also has the effect of quickly restoring the fire source power. When this furnace of Feeling Pill was completed, Chen Wei's physical and mental strength was also consumed by half. He classified these pills and put them in the jade bottle, his eyes full of excitement. Whether it is refining the falling star pill or the Feeling Pill, as long as the pill is successfully refined, he can get the blessing of Dan Qi. Although this ray of Dan Qi is rare, after accumulating a little, the growth rate of his source star will also increase a lot. Moreover, Chen Wei had a feeling that this Dan Qi seemed to breed some mysterious power in his eyes, and the increase in the source star cultivation might just be a byproduct. Chen Wei shook his head and couldn't help but smile. Maybe he thought too much? Even if this Dan Qi had the effect of cleansing and improving eyesight, it didn't mean anything. The Monkey King could cultivate a golden eye in Liujin's alchemy furnace. Could he also use this Dan Qi to breed a copycat version of the golden eye? You know, he didn't jump out of a stone. The difference between the innate and the innate is huge. Chapter 146 Alchemy Association. Since discovering the wonderful use of Dan Qi, in addition to the strengthening homework that must be done every night, Chen Wei has been obsessed with alchemy all day long. Half a month has passed in a flash. At this time, Chen Wei looked at the falling star pills piled up in the corners of the star ring, and a trace of joy flashed in his eyes. Although the quality of the falling star pills he refined was average, such a large number of pills was enough to increase the growth rate of his source star. What's more, during this period of alchemy, his source star cultivation has improved a lot at a speed visible to the naked eye. His eyesight has also increased significantly, and his insight into things has become more subtle and clear. Chen Wei took out a falling star pill from the star ring and swallowed it, then closed his eyes to meditate and practice, intending to try the efficacy of the falling star pill. The pill melted in his mouth, and after a few seconds, Chen Wei felt an extremely cold energy slowly seeping into his source star, followed by a warm source of power flowing in his body. Chen Wei's source star, which was already melting energy very quickly, was partially blessed, and the speed of absorbing source power increased by 2 points, greedily plundering the surrounding energy. This feeling of rapid cultivation lasted only half an hour, and the cold energy covering Chen Wei's source star disappeared, leaving only a trace of gray impurities lingering around the source star. Is this the negative effect of practicing with a falling star pill? Chen Wei suppressed the urge to take another one and slowly exhaled. No wonder the Beast Taming Association does not allow low-level beast masters to take the falling star pill. This thing actually has an addictive tendency. Taking a falling star pill may not be harmful to low-level beast masters, but if they indulge in this wonderful taste, it is easy to unknowingly interrupt their future cultivation career. The automatic purification ability of the 3rd level source star has a limit. Therefore, before the impurities around the source star are purified, Chen Wei does not intend to take the 2nd falling star pill to avoid future troubles. It seems that I have refined a little too much falling star pill, and I can't even digest it all. Chen Wei murmured in a low voice. He can refine 10 furnaces of falling star pills a day, and he will fail 3 to 4 times. In the past half month, he has refined more than 200 falling star pills. If he takes one pill every 3 days, he can't even finish half of his stock in a year. It seems that I can only take the exam to become a junior alchemist. Chen Wei touched his chin and thought to himself. The sale of elixirs in Donghu has strict standards. Any elixir circulating in the market needs to be stamped and certified by the alchemist himself to ensure the quality of the elixir and find the source of the elixir. If it is not certified by the alchemist himself, the elixir of unknown origin is the black elixir. This kind of black elixir is generally only sold on the black market, and the efficacy is extremely unstable, because you are not sure what strange medicine the alchemist has hidden in the elixir. Once this kind of elixir is found by the association, the seller will be fined at the least, and face imprisonment at the worst. Of course, the precious elixir handed down from ancient times does not belong to the black elixir. But this level of elixir also needs an elixir of the same level to guarantee it before it can be sold and auctioned. Now you can't get out without a certificate. If Chen Wei wants to sell the falling star pill and the star ring for a good price, he must first go to the Alchemist Association to take the assessment and become a junior alchemist. Chen Wei shook his head helplessly, glanced at Kei Ling, who was sleeping soundly with a dragon bracelet on her wrist, took out his mobile phone, and called a taxi to the Alchemist Association. Sitting in the taxi, looking at the surprise and envy on the driver's face, Chen Wei couldn't help but sigh at the lofty status of alchemists in people's hearts. Compared with the extremely risky beast masters who shed blood on the tip of a knife, many parents will choose to train their children to become alchemists. However, there are very few beast masters who can become alchemists, let alone in this remote Shushan city. Thinking of this, Wang Zichen suddenly appeared in Chen Wei's mind. Like him, Lao Wang also wants to be an alchemist who sits in the back and makes money. He took out his mobile phone and looked at Lao Wang's congratulations message for winning the championship a month ago, and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Although he thought that his friendship with Lao Wang was still deep, as his strength grew stronger, the two people's cultivation life also went on completely different parallel lines, and the intersection became less and less. How long has it been since they had boasted and chatted together? A trace of lust flashed in Chen Wei's eyes, and then he showed a bit of high spirits. If he could get the master's approval, maybe he could teach Lao Wang some knowledge of refining medicine and lead him into the door of the pharmacist, which would not be in vain for the two brothers. Hello, the Alchemist Association is here, the driver reminded. Chen Wei got off the car directly, and his eyes immediately looked at the huge building standing in the distance. The dark sandalwood plaque was inscribed with 5 simple characters of the Alchemist Association. In front of its tall gate, there were 2 stone pillars carved with giant dragons. 2 giant dragons, one above and one below, coiled and rose, surrounding the huge medicine cauldron in the middle. And above the medicine cauldron, a bright treasure pill was being nurtured in the blazing flames. The implication is obvious. Even real dragons need to snatch the elixirs made by the Alchemist Association, let alone beast masters? Chen Wei touched the colorful spirit in his hand, and then strode forward. The Alchemist Association is located in the central area of Shushan City. He has passed by it many times before, but he has never had the opportunity to enter it. He can only look at it from afar with envy. But today, he can walk in with his own strength. At the gate of the alchemist, 2 staff members saw Chen Wei's delicate and tender unfamiliar face, and they were slightly stunned and stopped him directly. The staff looked at Chen Wei's chest with a hidden look, and found that he was not wearing the alchemist badge, and was a little suspicious of his identity. Despite this, he did not dare to be disrespectful in his tone. Hello, you need to show the alchemist badge to enter the Alchemist Association, Chen Wei explained. I am here to take the junior alchemist exam this time, so I don't have a badge. The staff looked at Chen Wei in surprise. At such a young age, he was confident that he could pass the junior alchemist exam. He had been watching the gate for 30 years, and there were very few such excellent alchemist apprentices. Please follow me. The staff led the way directly forward. If this boy did not have the ability to refine medicine, but just wanted to take the risk to enter the association to ask for pills, he would soon be kicked out by the examiner. At this moment, a red shadow rushed into the alchemist gate from behind Chen Wei at a very fast speed. Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank. Through the cultivation and strengthening of Denki, his eyesight is now extremely outstanding. Although the red shadow was as fast as lightning, he could still see it clearly. It was a dark red medicine cauldron with an antique shape. Chapter 147 King Zuding. Seeing Chen Wei's surprise, the staff member smiled and explained, "That's President Lin's pet. It walks around here every morning." Hearing this, Chen Wei's face calmed down, but his emotions were still surging. Although it was just a glimpse, he used the identification skill to confirm the information of the dark red medicine cauldron. Pet name, Zuding. Pet attributes, fire, wood, gold. Racial level, strength level, 6th level. Racial skills, Zuding medicine flame, essence of wood, melting Dan body, fiery flame true gold, indestructible. King's pressure in Shushan City. There are very few pets with king level strength, and it is difficult for ordinary people to see them. Unexpectedly, he met one at the gate of the Alchemist Association, and it was an extremely rare tool-type pet. The so-called tool-type pet is a pet that was born with intelligence by chance under the nurturing of source power, such as knives, guns, swords, halberds, axes, armor and other artificial tools. The disadvantage of this kind of pet is that its spirituality is very low in the early stage, just like a 1-year-old baby, and it can only communicate in a simple way. In the pet battle, it is also more inclined to fight according to its own habits, and it is difficult for the Beastmaster to command it. But there are disadvantages and advantages. If it is lucky enough to become a pet, its essence will undergo an extraordinary transformation and enhancement. Even a rusty sword that can hardly cut down wood, after the essence transformation, is enough to cut iron like mud, comparable to the source instrument, not to mention the source instrument carefully crafted by the forger. It's a pity that even Jinhua University, which is famous for its forging department, can only rely on luck to give birth to a pet of the instrument type, which makes this kind of pet extremely rare and the price is very high. The profession of alchemist is really promising, with many resources, and even the tripod pet can be afforded. Chen Wei was a little envious. Entering the Alchemist Association, a faint and distant sandalwood suddenly came, which cheered Chen Wei up. Even the colorful spirit on his wrist woke up, with a bit of desire in his eyes. Oh, there are a lot of good things here. Looking at Kei Ling's excited look, Chen Wei smiled helplessly and motioned her to be quiet and not disturb others. The staff's eyes passed over Chen Wei's wrist without a trace, and a trace of fascination and envy flashed in his eyes, and then handed him an application for assessment. After a moment, Chen Wei successfully completed the formalities and entered the alchemist theory examination room. In the examination room, besides him, there was only a gentlewoman in a light blue dress, who was obviously the examiner of this written test. The woman looked at Chen Wei for a few times, with a hint of surprise in her eyes, and said straight to the point, "When you are ready, just sit down and start answering the questions." In a quiet study, there is a large rosewood desk in the middle, and 4 rows of bookshelves are placed in the north of the desk. Each row of bookshelves is filled with a variety of books and materials. A middle-aged man with a handsome face was sitting in front of a large desk, holding a book with the words, "Compendium of Alchemy," written on it, and on his right hand was a dark red medicine cauldron. "You said you met a very interesting Beastmaster. His mental power is very strong, even comparable to that of an intermediate alchemist, and he is only 18 years old." Hearing this, Lin Gaowai closed the book in his hand and looked at his pet in surprise. If he hadn't known that Zujin Zhiding would never joke, he wouldn't even dare to believe that this was true. His mental power is comparable to that of an intermediate alchemist, which means that his source star cultivation is at least close to the 4th level, which is not a rare thing, but if you add the prerequisite of being 18 years old, then he is a top talent that you can't find in Donghu even if you look for a lantern. How could such an outstanding genius suddenly come to the Shushan City Alchemy Association, and he didn't even receive any news? Warm reminder, there are still 20 minutes before the end of the exam. Are you sure you want to submit in advance? Looking at the reminder displayed on the screen again, Chen Wei casually clicked OK. He could already recite the alchemist manual given by Sister Muning. Although the theoretical examination for junior alchemists was a little difficult, it was still within Chen Wei's acceptable range. "It is under review, please wait a moment." A few seconds later, Chen Wei looked at the full score displayed on the screen and the prompt sound of passing the assessment, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. At this time, the blue-clothed woman frowned slightly, and then stepped forward and said, "Congratulations on passing the theoretical assessment. Please follow me. The next alchemy assessment will be conducted by President Lin." Okay. Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly surprised. When did the president of the Alchemy Association take charge of the assessment of junior alchemists? This is a bit too exaggerated. Hiding the doubts in his heart, Chen Wei followed the blue-clothed woman to a gate. This is the assessment site, you can go in directly. Okay, Chen Wei nodded, opened the door and walked in. The first thing that caught his eye was the dark red medicine cauldron that was nearly 1 meter long, followed by 10 medicine cauldrons neatly placed inside the room, and finally a handsome middle-aged man. At this time, Lin Gaowai was looking at the handsome boy in front of him with interest, his eyes full of admiration. He had heard of the genius Beastmaster who won the first place in the competition for Shushan City, but he didn't expect that he was also an alchemist. If Chen Wei can successfully pass the assessment of the junior alchemist today, this terrifying news will surely cause a stir in Hanyang province. This boy may even cause a fierce competition among many major forces. Lin Gaowai took a curious look at the dragon in Chen Wei's hand, then took out a pill recipe from the star ring and said bluntly, "This is the recipe for the falling star pill. If you can successfully refine one furnace, you will pass the assessment." Chen Wei's face was a little strange when he took the pill recipe flying from the air. It would be fine if he practiced and refined the falling star pill at home, but why is it the same at the assessment site? If he hadn't known that the falling star pill was a first-class high-grade pill that was difficult to refine, he would have really thought that the president in front of him was giving him a break. Lin Gaowai raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect Chen Wei to react this way. In order to test this famous young genius, he had specially selected the more difficult falling star pill. Why did Chen Wei look a little happy? Lin Gaowai reminded him, "You can start now." Looking at the nearby alchemy furnace, Chen Wei asked, "Can I use my own medicine cauldron?" "Of course," Lin Gaowai said with a smile. Although the Alchemist Association prepared medicine cauldrons for the candidates, it also allowed the candidates to use their own medicine cauldrons, but they had to be checked by the examiner before they could use them. With his king-level majestic mental power, he could easily find out even if there was any problem with Chen Wei's medicine cauldron. Chapter 148 Hu Fujing. Chen Wei glanced at the spiritual medicines on the stage. They were the medicinal materials for refining the falling star pill provided by the Alchemy Association. A total of 2 were prepared, which meant that he only had 1 chance to fail. Although the Alchemy Association prepared the medicinal materials for the examinees in advance, the consumption of these medicinal materials was still borne by the examinees. Of course, the pills refined by the examinees also belonged to themselves. Chen Wei's telekinesis moved slightly, and more than a dozen medicinal materials on the stage were slowly put into the Qingyangding. Under the control of the red cloud flame formation diagram, the violent Qingyang flames were as docile as a cat, and it was easy to purify the essence of many spiritual medicines. Looking at Chen Wei's freely controlled telekinesis and the smooth refining techniques, Lin Gaowai nodded slightly and sighed in his heart, "It's really well deserved." He awakened his telekinesis at a young age. Judging from the mental power observed so far, it is estimated that he is not far from the 4th-level source star. What a terrifying talent for cultivation. He slowly calmed down his amazement, and then his eyes were fixed on the ever-changing blue flames in Chen Wei's ding. The more he looked, the more familiar he felt. This fire control secret method is exactly the same as Liu Menging's refining method. Could it be that he is Liu Menging's disciple? Thinking of this, Lin Gaowai felt a sense of regret in his heart. How could such an excellent alchemy genius be intercepted in advance? Although Chen Wei's awakened innate talent is the identification talent, with a magnificent mental power that Chen Wei has currently displayed, if he can continue to maintain such a terrifying progress, even the alchemists who have awakened the alchemy talent will be inferior. It's a pity that the later the alchemist's spiritual power is, the more difficult it is to cultivate and improve the alchemist's mental power. On the contrary, the alchemist who has awakened the alchemy talent can catch up. As time passed, the light red soft light in the cauldron disappeared in an instant, and 3 wisps of mysterious Dan Qi flew out of the cauldron along with a red falling star pill. The pill fell into the jade bottle in Chen Wei's hand under the control of telekinesis, and the Dan Qi automatically sank into his eyes. Looking at the round pill in the jade bottle, Chen Wei showed satisfaction on his face. This time, he was able to refine the falling star pill as if he had divine help. He had a premonition that he would succeed before he even reached the stage of pill condensation. As expected, he not only succeeded in refining it, but also the quality of the pill reached the excellent level, and the Dan Qi born from the pill was a little stronger than before. The quality of the pill is divided into 4 levels according to the purity of the pill power, namely ordinary, good, excellent and perfect. The purity of more than 60% is ordinary quality, more than 70% is good, more than 80% is excellent, and more than 90% is perfect. As for the elixir of 10-level medicinal power purification, I am afraid that only the legendary medicine saint can create it. Chen Wei raised his head and looked at President Lin in the distance with curiosity. He wanted to know whether President Lin, who is a king-level beastmaster and senior alchemist, could find traces of Danqi. But at present, it seems that the mystery of Danqi is very high, even the king-level strong can't find it. Chen Wei handed the jade bottle in his hand to President Lin, who walked up slowly, and then waited quietly for the test results. Lin Gaowai carefully observed the quality of the falling star pill. A trace of admiration flashed across his eyes, and then he smiled and said, "Congratulations on passing the review of the junior alchemist and becoming a formal YIAO alchemist." Before the star calendar, the classification of alchemists was very simple, with a total of 9 levels, the lowest being the YIAO alchemist, and the highest being the JIAO alchemist, which was the medicine saint. But with a continuous advancement of technology, some pills below the 3rd level can be automatically refined by machines made by researchers. As a result, the Alchemist Association classified the IAO and UIAO alchemists as junior alchemists, and the SYNIAO and CIAO as intermediate alchemists. Although these machines consume a lot of medicinal materials when making pills, the success rate is extremely low, and the quality is only ordinary. It also has a severe impact on some junior alchemists who are not good at academics. "Thank you, Senior." Chen Wei nodded slightly. Lin Gaowai then took out a book from the star ring and handed it to Chen Wei. "It will take some time to make the Alchemist badge. These are the rules and regulations and precautions of the Alchemist Association. Every alchemist who joins the association must understand them." Chen Wei carefully took the book. It seemed that the elixirs that could be smelled but not eaten were too tempting. The colorful spirit coiled around his wrist could not help but close its eyes and fell asleep. "Yi, oh Zizi, I fell asleep." Seeing this, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile, and then followed President Lin to leave the examination venue. A moment later, Lin Gaowai handed Chen Wei an exquisite badge with a gorgeous appearance, a medicine cauldron carved on the surface, and a dazzling sun on the medicine cauldron, representing the identity of a junior alchemist. Then he explained, "Through the identity chip in the badge, you can use your mobile phone to directly log into the Alchemist member network and accept or issue some tasks related to alchemy on it." "Okay," Chen Wei nodded. With this badge as a guarantee, the falling star pills accumulated in his star ring can finally be sold. Looking at Chen Wei's disappearing figure, Lin Gaowai's expression suddenly became very interesting. If he can easily refine the high-quality falling star pill, then how can he also successfully refine the 2nd-level pill of average difficulty? A 2nd-level pill master with a plain family can have a 3rd-level source star at the age of 18? This world is really crazy. On the other side, in the suburbs of Shushan City, in a delicate and tidy laboratory, Liu Mengeng was staring at the experimental data in front of the screen with a solemn expression on her face. Next to her was a middle-aged man with a refined appearance and elegant demeanor. Liu Jinghu, Liu Mengeng's biological father, a king-level beastmaster, the head of the Liu family in Shushan City, and the actual controlling shareholder of the Puppet Mall. Experiment name, Amber Sun Support Crystal. Experimental subject, Sundoll. Racial level, Brilliant King. Target level, Epic Overlord. Evolution materials. Crystal core of Black Crystal Flame Dragon. Level 7, 1 Hongyang Red Crystal, 3 Red Refining Fire Crystals, 5 Sun Gold Crystals, 10,000 Crystal Vine. Top Crystal Source Crystals, a lot. Top Fire Source Crystals, a lot. Experimental expected success rate, 79.98% at this time. Even Liu Jinghu, who had seen many storms, was a little nervous. After all, the sundoll that was about to evolve in the distance was his old companion, who had been with him for a long time and could not afford any mistakes. However, the probability of success of the evolution close to the 7th level was really tempting, and even enough for him to take a risk. The preparations for the epic evolution have lasted for more than half a month, and the concentration standard of the fire source power inside is already sufficient. Success or failure depends on this one move. A trace of determination flashed in Liu Mengeng's eyes, and then he pressed the button in front of him. Chapter 149 Amber Sun Crystal Dragon. This is a crater created by the Research Institute and the Liu family secret realm, and it is also the evolution site carefully built by Liu Mengeng. The hot and violent fire source power is slowly rotating above the crater, forming an energy light column that rises into the sky, condensing the energy between the surrounding heaven and earth here. As Liu Mengeng pressed the button, the energy that went straight to the sky began to fluctuate violently, and streams of fire source power poured into the crater like a materialized stream of fire. If it weren't for the protective barrier set up in advance around the research institute, such a violent source power fluctuation would be directly detected by the monitoring system of Shushan City, thus triggering the city-wide alarm. The violent energy vortex completely covered the crater, and then a blazing fire burst out from the crater, and the king's pressure that shook the earth and the sky swept out. In an instant, the stones around the crater suddenly exploded, and were even shaken into fine powder and gravel. Liu Mengeng and Liu Jinghu looked through the big screen at the crater of the volcano. The puppet had thick limbs, a pair of pointed ears with tiny titanium crystals scattered around, and a cluster of orange-red flames burning in its hair. Under this violent energy vortex, the bright red gemstone eyes of the puppet flashed a trace of excitement, and it took the beast control resources beside it in order, and then began to continuously devour the majestic energy at the crater. The raging energy continued to flow into the puppet's body, and the terrifying temperature permeated its body. The next second, the dazzling light of evolution broke through the clouds, and even the rotation and convergence of the energy vortex became slow. Did it succeed? Liu Mengeng looked at Liu Jinghu with expectation. It hasn't succeeded yet, and now is the critical moment. Liu Jinghu frowned, but his face showed some excitement involuntarily. Through the induction of the beast control contract, he could clearly feel that the strength of his old partner was soaring at a speed visible to the naked eye. The success rate of this evolution is indeed very high. At this time, the sun-sparkling doll in the crater was beginning to transform as the beast resources were integrated into its body. Its fiery red body seemed to have become an endless black hole, greedily absorbing the surrounding fire source power. This piece of land with huge energy was a fire environment tailor-made for the sun-sparkling doll. Therefore, this energy that was too violent for other fire pets was an excellent source of evolution for the sun-sparkling doll. Time passed slowly, and the dazzling light of evolution was still so bright even in the energy light column that soared into the sky. In this process, the flames burning on the head of the sun-sparkling doll began to condense into blade-like flame shells, which even grew to its back, emitting an extremely hot flame. Its limbs became thicker, and the 4 titanium crystal claws, 3 in front and 1 behind, exuded an extremely sharp breath. The slender and flexible cute fluffy tail behind it also turned into a domineering crystal-like sharp tail, and even its fiery red hair covering its entire body turned into thick purple-red fluff. The magnificent energy vortex slowly disappeared, and the dazzling light of evolution also began to gradually dissipate. After the evolution, the Shuo-Ri puppet, whose length had grown to 10 meters, could not help but feel the joy in his heart, and roared excitedly to the sky, and the domineering pressure that seemed to collapse the sky and the earth suddenly poured out. The protective shield that was enough to withstand the full force of the king-level beast began to crumble under this roar and almost broke. At the same time, Liu Jinghu couldn't help but burst into ecstasy on his face. With the successful evolution of the Shuo-Ri puppet, he also gained considerable benefits through the feedback of the beast control contract. Although these energy feedbacks did not allow his source star to break through to the 7th level, it also saved him a lot of hard training time. Next, Liu Mengeng opened the protective shield of the volcanic environment without hesitation, and then he and his father Liu Jinghu each rode the pets and quickly came to the Shuo-Ri puppet that had just completed the evolution, intending to test their experimental results. Looking at the Shuo-Ri puppet in front of him, which exuded intimacy, Liu Mengeng's eyes flashed with a hint of doubt. According to her experimental speculation, the influence of the crystal core of the black crystal flame dragon should not be so great. Judging from the appearance, this majestic sun puppet is more like a dragon pet than a cat. Although the body still retains the elegance of a cat, anyone who sees its heroic posture will think it is a dragon pet. Not bad, not bad. This vast momentum, it is indeed an epic overlord. Unlike Liu Mengeng's surprise, Liu Jinghu's face showed excitement and nervousness. Although the strength of the sun puppet remains at the 6th level after the successful advancement, the strength difference between the king race and the overlord race is huge. At the same level, the latter can even fight 2 or even 3 at the same level. Not only that, as the bloodline upper limit shackles of the sun puppet were broken, the difficulty of its advancement to the 7th level epic plummeted. Liu Jinghu believed that he would soon welcome a powerful partner with the strength of the 7th level, and by then, it would be the time for their Liu family to officially rise. Only an epic-level Beastmaster could maintain a stable and smooth evolutionary route for the Overlord-level pets. Now that he was only a King-level Beastmaster, he could only keep this news strictly sealed. In addition to the fire and crystal systems, there is also a rare dragon system. Feeling the extra energy in his old friend's body, Liu Jingyu nodded with satisfaction. As for the change in appearance, he didn't care much. Have you thought of a name for this new Overlord race? Liu Jingyu turned to look at his daughter, with a hint of relief in his eyes. Although the family has accumulated for hundreds of years, as the creator of the epic Overlord evolutionary route, his daughter is bound to leave a strong mark in the history of beast control in Donghu. Liu Menging looked at the Shiori puppet and asked softly, Amber Crystal Dragon? What do you think of this name? Even as the creator, she had to show considerable respect and reverence to such a powerful beast. Amber Crystal Dragon nodded slightly, obviously very satisfied with the name. After many stages of evolution, it is no longer the cute cat it once was. This domineering name that fits the epic Overlord is suitable for it. On the other side, in Yichen Hall, the beast resource trading market in Shushan City, Chen Wei had no idea about the big show his senior sister had just made. At this time, he was selling pills with a familiar medicine hall clerk. As for why he didn't sell it online, it was purely because he was afraid of trouble. Instead of shipping it, he would rather refine a few more batches of pills. So even if the price is a little lower, he will sell the pills at once. Looking at the 20 bottles of falling star pills on the table, the medicine hall clerk looked embarrassed. He didn't dare to offend such a young alchemist in the slightest, but as a small clerk he didn't have the authority to purchase so many pills. It seemed that he had no choice but to disturb the boss. Chapter 150, Fall of the Frost Star. Can you wait here for a moment? I need to ask my superiors about the purchase of elixirs. The pharmacy clerk put the jade bottle in his hand back on the table. His tone was very respectful. No problem, but it's better to be quick. Chen Wei nodded slightly, and then sat on the chair and waited quietly. He didn't wait for long. After a while, an old man with white hair and a young face and steady clothes walked into Yichentang. Chen Wei looked at the exquisite badge with 2 dazzling suns on the old man's chest, and his eyes suddenly condensed. He didn't expect that the boss of Yichentang was also a junior alchemist. This is our pharmacy boss Zhuan Honggai, the pharmacy clerk introduced. Zhuan Honggai looked at the young man in front of him without leaving a trace, and his heart couldn't help but be slightly surprised, but his face didn't show it. Alchemists are not like beastmasters. Every alchemist is the target of competition among various forces, let alone such a young alchemist. Shushan City is such a small place, and he has heard of every junior alchemist rookie, which made him have some speculations about Chen Wei's identity. Boss, this is the falling star pill that Mr. Chen wants to sell. The pharmacy clerk handed the jade bottle on the table to Zhuan Honggai. Zhuan Honggai opened the jade bottle and sniffed it gently, then looked at the red and round pill in the bottle, with a hint of doubt in his eyes. Although the falling star pill is a first-grade top-grade pill, it is difficult to make, and generally only the second-level alchemists can have a high success rate. Even if he wants to refine 20 bottles, that is, 200 falling star pills, the failure rate of up to half is a bit too much. Counting the success rate, it will take him at least more than a month to complete so many pills, and the average first-level alchemist will take at least half a year. These are all ordinary quality falling star pills. Are you going to sell them all, my friend? Zhuan Honggai opened and checked the 5 jade bottles and stopped. Chen Wei, yes, that's right. Zhuan Honggai pondered for a while, then said, the market price of a falling star pill is 100,000 star coins. How about these 20 bottles of falling star pills at a price of 14 million star coins? Chen Wei's eyes flashed with joy. The purchase price of a falling star pill reached 70,000 star coins, which was beyond his expectations. No problem, Zhuan Honggai smiled and said, can you add a contact number? I can buy any pills that need to be sold in the future. Okay. After the transaction was completed, Chen Wei bought hundreds of medicinal materials needed to refine the falling star pill in the pharmacy. The 14 million star coins he just received instantly reduced another 7 million star coins, and then he left the pharmacy directly. Teacher, isn't the purchase price of our falling star pill 60,000 star coins per piece? The pharmacy clerk asked in confusion. Looking at the pill certification in his hand, Zhuan Honggai's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise, then frowned and glanced at the clerk beside him. Even if we buy it at the price of 70,000 star coins, we will only earn a few less star coins. It's better to make friends with such a young alchemist. Do you understand? I understand. On the other side, looking at the 999 plus chat messages displayed in the Q-letter group chat, Dongho Alchemy Association, Chen Wei thought about it and entered a few messages. Alchemy Apprentice. Thank you for the explanation of Master Hong Ten. The falling star pill I made has been successfully sold. Hong Ten, how much is the selling price? Don't consider those who buy it at a price lower than 50,000 star coins. They are pure black-hearted merchants. Alchemy Apprentice. 70,000 per pill. Hong Ten, that's not bad. I can still get some money back. At this time, in the distant JH city, a girl in a red dress looked at the mobile phone in her hand with a smile on her face. In addition to daily alchemy, chatting in the Dongho Alchemy Association and helping newbies are one of her few hobbies. He worship the master. I failed in 10 furnaces of refining the falling star pill, and I am about to lose money. Is there any big guy who can help me see what went wrong? Click to view the picture. Hong Ten, I looked at it and it's mainly a problem with the pill condensation. I have uploaded the detailed explanation materials to the group file. You can download it. Bazy, thank you, big guy. Chen Wei's eyes lit up when he saw this, and he decisively downloaded the group file by Tao Weng. I recently refined a strange 4th level star condensing pill. I need someone to test the medicine. The reward is easy to negotiate. Is there anyone willing to participate? As soon as Bai Tao Weng's message came out, the group chat messages suddenly became quiet. Bai Tao Weng, is there anyone? It's best to be a pharmacist. If it's not possible, a beast master can barely do it. Back home, Chen Wei started refining the falling star pill again. Excluding the cost of refining the medicine, the falling star pill alone earned him about 6 million star coins, and it only took him half a month. This kind of practice method that can both practice and make money, no wonder Chen Wei is immersed in it and can't extricate himself. The next day, January 17th, Tuesday, the weather was clear. Chen Wei was refining the falling star pill, and a violent roar suddenly sounded in the courtyard, followed by a series of strong vibrations on the floor. Chen Wei's right hand, which was pressed against the Qingyang ding, could not help but tremble. A slight muffled sound came from the ding, and the pill that was about to be condensed into a pill failed. He shook his head, exhaled lightly, and with a move of his mind, he took out the dark red, bumpy waste pill in the ding, and then walked quickly to the courtyard. At this time, the bone-chilling white frost was spreading everywhere, and the originally flat ground in the courtyard suddenly appeared with spider web-like cracks connecting a huge ice crystal pit, about 6 meters long and wide, reflecting a sharp light under the sparse sunlight. Above this huge pit was Kai Ling, who was in high spirits, and Yutong, who showed a little envy in her eyes. Looking down at the huge ravine in the courtyard, Chen Wei's face showed a touch of joy. What is this new skill? Kai Ling raised her head, her face full of pride. Yi, frost star falling. Upon hearing this, Chen Wei's eyes lit up slightly. Skill, frost star falling, level, 5th level ice skill, introduction, condensing a huge frost star from the sky to hit the enemy, causing huge damage and freezing deceleration. Then the frost star shattered, emitting a violent frost shock wave, freezing everything in the range. Even such a high-level skill can be comprehended by himself. Kai Ling's talent for learning skills is too strong. I just don't know how long his fragile courtyard can last. Thinking of this, Chen Wei looked at Bai Luo, who was standing beside him with a gentle and peaceful expression. Help me repair the ground in the courtyard. Chirp. Oh, no problem. Bai Luo clapped his hands, and after a series of earthquakes, the originally dark and endless deep pit was instantly filled with sand and gravel that continued to gush out. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.